Talk Radio.
I appreciate it, Al. Thank you. That was very kind.
You want to get high?
You want to make $14 the hard way?
Oh my! Yep.
Hey, what happened to the music?
Well, there's a. It's back. Well, hello there, everybody. It's Tuesday night, September 27th, 2022. We are back for another episode of The Sports Attic. We're here in Chicago, Illinois. He's in the attic. I'm in the basement. You're up there somewhere, pal. Rest up there, Al. Rest peacefully. Am I allowed to say that yet, or do I have to wait?
I don't know. I'm not dead yet. I mean, close.
Yeah, but I can still say rest peacefully.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can. Sure. Hey, Clark, scissor me, Daddy.
The champs. The champs.
Come on, scissor me, Clark. Boom.
Nailed it. That was for the watchers, not for the podcasters later
Yeah,
on.
no, they have no idea what's going on. They probably think we're in person.
We're coming. We're here. We're coming at you live from Chicago, Illinois. Albany Park, Portage Park, Six Corners.
We'll see about that.
Montrose, wherever you want to be, that's where we are. We're going to do this show here tonight just as we always do during the football season. There's a lot to get to. Let's jump into that. I'm going to hand it over to my partner, Alfred Ferdinand Larcher III. Join in the conversation. Chat.
Well, welcome to another.
Over, and then I forgot to plug the call-in line. If you want to.
Oh, yeah. Hit that. That's important.
760-454-8834 to call us. 760-454-8834 or chat wherever you are watching us. Facebook Live, Twitch, heck, YouTube. Get us there. Hey, Sean.
Hey, brother.
Hello, Al.
Welcome to another exciting edition of the Sports Addict. I am Alfred Ferdinand Larcher III. That is Clark Lawrenson. And, the Chicago Bears have once again won a game, and I couldn't feel more horrible about it. I couldn't feel more disappointed, disgusted, and broken with the whole Chicago Bears team after an exciting victory. How about you, Clark?
Well, I feel like the graphic that I have up at the bottom, it's been up for 3 weeks now. It's just going to stay there. Who are the Chicago Bears? Who are they? Now, they beat the Houston Texans. They are the Chicago Bears that have held teams to only field goals in the second half. So far in the first 3 weeks, they've only given up 4 field goals, no touchdowns. Who are these Chicago Bears? Great running team. It appears. Well, when you're playing Houston, I guess.
One of the worst run defenses in football. Absolutely.
When your second running back steps up and takes it to the house, takes over when your first running back goes down, that feels pretty good. But there's just, as you said, I'm just whelmed about the Chicago Bears victory.
Yeah,
little Clark over there.
I wish, I understand David Montgomery's got a little bit of a sore knee, and I'm hoping he sits for 3 to 6 weeks. For the collective.
That's going to help our football
more than
team.
Anything.
Our fantasy football team, the collective, of course.
But the Chicago Bears, I think we do have something in Herbert. I've been saying that. I've been preaching that since week 1. That eventually we're going to move on from David Montgomery, and I think he's a serviceable back, Herbert, and we saw glimpses of it this week. So that was exciting. The big question going in was, last week I said, we found out what their ceiling was, and their ceiling was very low. We're going to figure out what the basement is this week. And I think we found the basement, and I don't I'm projecting us for 4 wins. I think that's where we're at right now. And I mean, we already have 2. So, that tells you where we're going. The
Well,
future is not looking bright. The future is not what it once was.
I mean, if they can't get 3 more wins in the rest of this season, I mean, what are we talking about? 14 more games.
Yeah.
Where are we at here, Al? I mean, do I need to share the schedule up on the screen so I can read it here real quick?
I mean, if you want to do that, sure. I mean, I'll take a look and tell you how bad things are going to get.
Yeah, I'll
Uh,
do that. But yeah, where are you at? Like, I know you're saying 4 wins still at this point, but like, what did you think? Did you get a chance to see the all 22s at all, or was it not worth
I
the
haven't
time
yet.
even? Like,
No, it's worth the time. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. I've been, I think I might have the long COVID. It's very hard to have energy to do anything lately, and I mean that's even with like antidepressants. I just like I can do like one thing a day,
is that
and
still the seasonal though? Like, could that possibly be seasonal depression still, even with even with the meds and whatnot? A little bit, like it
it
just got
could be.
old.
I
I
mean,
mean,
look, I haven't been to a doctor. I'm self you know diagnosing, which is never good. But
okay,
like, I had a crisis in here, Clark, in the attic, because I went and I decided to make my chili, and I went to
oh
the
shit,
Mariano's, and I got everything I needed for the chili. Well, I bought limes, even though I never cut up the lime and used the limes. I bought the limes anyways,
hmm
because you know what, it's always good to have limes around. You can drop them
you
in some water,
you only live
for fun.
once, yeah, right.
Well, I left the limes out, and like a day later, my apartment, the attic started reeking of mold,
A
and
day?
yeah, a day later. So I realized it was probably the limes. So I shove them in the refrigerator, to cool them off. I figure, maybe whatever's going on, the refrigeration will help it. And I left that in there for 2 days, and then the entire fridge started reeking like mold. And I threw the limes out the window because I didn't want to just leave them outside, and I wasn't going to go down to the garbage. So I threw them out to the taxi stand next door, and next thing I know, the refrigerator still reeked of the mold, and everything, including stuff in plastic, tasted like lime mold. Like I would cook a hot dog, and the hot dog would taste like mold. So I had to throw all the food out, and it's still permeated. It's still remained. So yesterday I had to completely clean the refrigerator out and wipe it down, and throw some bleach in there. And
Mm,
there's still a little bit of a moldy lime. There's the moldy lime crisis of 2022 is upon us here at
it
the
must have
attic.
been like, I think our first winter here, we went on a vacation, at the beginning of March, end of February, and, we came home and just this horrible smell. We thought it was gas. It could have been mold. We weren't sure. Did we leave, is there a gas line leaking? We're like, do we need to get the kids out of the house? I found a clementine in a work bag up in my
Mm.
bedroom, the worst. And that's what it was. Like those things kick out those little fruits, man. You leave them laying around,
That's where penicillin comes from, Clark.
from fruit mold. I didn't know it was
Yeah,
fruit
yeah,
mold
from
specifically.
citrus. Yeah.
Okay.
Oranges make your penicillin, which kill all the problems. It's helped humanity grow forward. I mean, if it wasn't for the penicillin, we'd be in terrible shape. So, I mean, it served its purpose. It's just not a good idea. So, if you ever have anything moldy, don't put it in the refrigerator. That's lesson number one. I probably should have learned that years ago.
Well,
Uh,
folks, Al, I pulled
the
this up. Oh, go
Yeah,
ahead. I pulled up this, the schedule here. And if you go click on printable schedule, this is off of the Chicago Bears website. You go click on printable schedule,
some
and this
kid
is
drew
what
it.
shows up on the official webpage. Like,
How embarrassing!
that's ridiculous. This is from an NFL site. What are you doing here? Like,
For the people listening at home, you see, it looks like kids drew every NFL logo of the teams we're playing. I mean, it had
good
to be. It's like Hazel got some
God.
crayons.
And I bet it's
Eh,
like it benefits a charity for kids, probably. And now I'm just an
I
asshole.
don't care. Yeah, you can still be like, look, the Bears have a lot of money. They could give money to the charity and not have, this childlike imagery
You
that's
know,
just pathetic in front
in
of
all
us.
honesty, the logos on the side don't bother me that much. It's just that font. Like, the
Oh,
fuck?
the logos bother me, Clark. They
Do
need to
they?
get rid of those immediately. They
Well,
should
that
burn that.
that green one there on the right is horse shit, whatever that is.
Well, the green one looks like a moldy lime. It's giving me flashbacks.
Tom
And the
Brady
question
had one job to do this year, and it was to beat the Green Bay Packers. Did it happen? No.
The question with the Chicago Bears is: do we have a moldy lime at quarterback, and are we leaving him in the refrigerator too long?
Yeah.
I don't know yet. I still don't know. I thought the dude was constantly under pressure. I thought the dude didn't have a chance to be a quarterback. I don't think the guy could get any rhythm going because there's no opportunity to get rhythm going. So, I'm definitely not a guy writing him off. I'm still on the Justin Fields bandwagon, and I think, I want to see what he does next year. I want him to be the quarterback next year. But right now, man, there's a lot of questions with the Chicago Bears, and they're scary questions. I mean, we're entering the month of October, which I learned after trying to get a sticker for my license plate, that it was the wrong month. I mix up November and September quite often. And so I reversed those two. But, we're entering October, which is the spooky time of year. It's the Spanish holiday, the Day of the Dead is celebrated. The American holiday, Halloween, is observed. The fall festivals.
Yeah, we're there. Oktoberfest beer is out. I had my one for the year, but actually I've had 4. I usually only have 1, but now I've had 4. I was at a beer tasting festival the other day, Al. You kind of you buried. What did you say in there? You said something that you just jumped right over. Now I lost my train of thought. I jumped onto the beer thing.
What, if you've never tasted beer before, you got to go to festivals to taste beer?
Well, it's a benefit for the forest preserve, the Cook County Forest Preserve, and it's called Beer in the Woods. It's over at LaBaw Woods. You've probably ridden your bike around it up there. They got some nice trails. They
Yeah.
go through LaBaw Woods, and probably 100 breweries around.
Who the hell knows the name of the woods?
It was Saturday from 2 to 6. We rode our bikes up there. I would have invited you, but you're not much of a beer guy. And it's a
And you didn't
Saturday.
ride your bike. You just clicked your little battery button and you zoomed over there.
Hang on. My wife was on a bike that doesn't have a motor on it at all.
Yeah, that poor woman has to work. She
So
works for a
instead-
living. She's
so
got to
instead of-
pedal. She's got to go to her 9-to-5 job.
Listen.
Meanwhile, you're over here with battery packs.
Listen, on my e-bike, there's no button. There's no magic
E-bike.
button to make it go. You have to pedal.
Oh,
So
you have
instead
to
of-
pedal.
Instead of
Bullshit.
having on level 5 assist, I didn't raise mine above level 2 because my wife is
Mhm.
riding with me. Like I'm not, and she's not riding on an electric. We need to get her an electric. You've got to go electric, Al.
No, I'm not going electric. I'm a
You
man.
gotta-
I
yeah.
can pedal.
No, you got to go electric. You'd love it. It's you get great exercise. I ride about 25 miles a day on it to and from work. It's fantastic.
No.
Were we going to discuss where are the Bears going to get their victories? So these first 3 games here, they've gotten themselves a few victories, right? Couple few. They won both of the home games. Week 1, 49ers. Week 3, Texans. They lost at Green Bay, as they do. What did you see last night out of those New York Giants that makes you think the Bears don't have a shot next Sunday at noon?
Well, how are you going to stop
Just outside
Saquon
New York City.
Barkley? All right, Barkley was tragically underdrafted in a season-long fantasy football, even in best ball. I think he was underdrafted. The guy's a top 5 running back against the Chicago Bears team that is going to struggle mightily against these New York Giants. Danny Dimes, I don't think is as good of a quarterback as Justin Fields. But I think Danny Dimes is in a better situation. You wished for Shepard to get injured, and Shepard is now injured, and he's done.
I didn't wish for him to get injured. I wish that he wouldn't score very many points.
No, I heard injured.
I never said let's have him injured. We got outbid, Al. I don't want the guy to score.
Hey, Clark. Hey, Clark, you know who this is?
Who's this?
This is your e-bike. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for contacting me.
My name's Marvin, by the way. You haven't given me a name yet. My name is Marvin. Anyways, I just want to let you know you're a pussy for using the e-bike instead of pedaling.
That's
You
incorrect.
use the assist way too much. You shouldn't claim 25 miles. That's for people who actually pedal. You
That
should just
seems
say, "Hey, I took my bicycle for a stroll."
you don't. I guess you don't quite understand the e-bike there. You don't understand what you do. Like you're
I do understand what I do. I assist.
Mhm.
You
right,
know,
right. There's no
I'm like
throttle.
hospice.
I didn't
I'm
get
like
one with a
hospice for
throttle.
bicycles.
I can max like I go at most 20 miles an hour. Like it, I hardly even like, and it helps me go faster. Yeah, but I don't always use it. Sometimes I'm
Hey,
trying to
Clark,
conserve
one more
battery.
thing. One more thing, Clark, before I leave here. Wash your ass.
Thank you.
All
Well,
right, Clark, your bicycle checking in, Marv.
I'm a little offended by the bike there, Al, because we got the bidet attachment now. So I think all that's
Yeah,
been
you don't have a
solved.
real bidet though. You got an attachment. The attachment is
Oh,
part
what
of
do you want
the
me to do? You
fun
want
of
me
the
to go
shit.
buy a bidet? Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
you
just
go
go
buy
buy
a
a bidet.
bidet. You do it right. If
Yeah,
you're
just
gonna have
buy a
water
bidet. What do
sprinkling
you
up
just
your
go
ass, you
online and
might as
buy
well get
buy an
quality.
attachment and put it on there? Well, come on, Al.
You buy a bidet. I mean, it's not that expensive to get a nice bidet, as opposed to some little, having some little hose shooting water up your ass. That's a side attachment. That's not a bidet, man.
We are supposed to be discussing the Chicago Bears here.
Well, bidets and Chicago Bears are very, very comparable.
Well, why? Because they clean your butt?
Because they involve the ass, man. And this Bears team is ass.
Okay. Okay.
I agree 100%.
Get out of here. All right. So if they can't stop Saquon, they can't win. I'm going to count on Eberflus here.
Yeah, I like Eberflus. I still like him. I still feel like the fundamentals are there for the Chicago Bears, and the team does have a little bit of discipline, and he seems like a competent coach. But the offensive play calling is concerning. I mean, there's questions of you see on Twitter, and my God, what a cesspool of humanity that place is. But you see
I've got
on
to
Twitter.
discuss with you Twitter a bit later too.
Well,
We've
yeah,
got-
people are asking about you, Clark. There's people asking about where's Clark.
Uh-oh.
People are concerned about you because one of your fake personas has disappeared. But we'll get there. This offense is, you go on the Twitter and people are very agitated with the Chicago Bears team. They're very
Ooh.
you know
Uh-oh. See, in the last few weeks, Al now has more controls than before.
yeah.
There we go. That's good. Yeah, it was down at the bottom. I mean, yeah, we're good.
What, did I screw something up now? What do you
No, but now I got to sit over here, right here. You like the side by side? For those watching on YouTube, for those of you listening, this would be difficult. Like, do you prefer the side by side? We should get a poll up. Where can we do polls? Let's do a poll.
No, that's the guy who runs the team. That's the GM.
Oh, Ryan polls.
Yeah, Ryan Bowles.
All right.
That's the guy I'm peeved at more than anybody. I think that guy that could be a problem for us. Nobody cares, Clark. Nobody, but truly, nobody cares about that. What side scrolling picture is good for us. Well,
But now I need to be over here.
I was talking about something, and then you're
This
worried
looks good
about.
in the middle now. I wasn't. Okay, go ahead.
I don't even remember where I was going now, Clark.
Oh, I spelled season wrong.
You've completely thrown me off there, but
You were talking about the offense. People on Twitter are
yes.
saying a lot about it.
The cesspool that is Twitter, is saying like, oh, the Bears, they've clearly given up on Justin Fields. I mean, that's clear by their play calling, and I mean, I think it's clear they've given up on their offensive line more than they've given up on Justin Fields. I mean, you don't have, I keep I keep harping back to this that you don't have an offensive line. What the hell are you supposed to do? By the way, Justin Fields getting extremely cheap on DraftKings. Like I might lose money on him. Dude, I dropped in the Scott Fish Bowl from 60th to like 290th place because of Justin Fields, starting Mariota over Justin Fields. But that's a topic for another discussion.
Wait, you started Fields?
Yeah, I started Fields over Mariota because I'm a homer, and I thought like, look, if Fields is going to have a good game, it's going to be against the Houston
Yep.
Texans. There's no way he's going to give me negative points. Which in the Scott Fishbowl, he ended up producing negative points.
Wow.
So, Mariota only put up like 14, 15 points, but, versus -3, that's a swing of 17 points, and I lost by like 15. So, yeah, I mean, painful. But 17 attempts. We're talking about San Francisco 49ers. 17 attempts, 8 completions. 47.1 completion rate. Week 2, 11 attempts, 7 completions, 63.6 completion rate. Week 3, this is not a repeat. 17 attempts, 8 completions, 47.1 completion percentage. So he has the exact same stats in week 1 in a monsoon as he does week 3 against the Houston Texans, the lowly Houston Texans. He goes 47.1 completion rate in both games, throws only 17 passes in both games. 121 yards he put up against San Francisco, 106 yards against the helpless Houston Texans. 2 interceptions this week. Week 1, he only threw 1, and he also had 2 touchdown passes against the 49ers, 0 this week. He did absorb 5 sacks in the game against the Houstons. Now, remember going into this game, remember what we talked about last week. The Houston Texans ranked dead last in defensive line and defensive line production. This is a bad defensive line. 5 sacks.
Wow.
What the hell are you supposed to do? He rushed for 8 attempts for 47 yards. Week 1, he rushed 11 times for only 28. This was his best rushing game of the year, as the Houston Texans were just slaughtered on the ground. We put over 200 plus yards rushing. I think we had over 150 in the first half alone. David Montgomery goes down early, but Kahlil Herbert just dominating, putting up 7.9 yards per carry, carried the ball 20 times for 157 yards and 2 touchdowns. So you ask how you win a game. Well, that's how you won that game. We were able to run the ball all over the place. 7.9, almost 8 yards a carry, Clark. I mean, that's something. He was targeted 2 times, got 2 passes for 12 yards, as long as being 7 yards. Herbert looking good, man. I'm kind of hoping. I think they should rest Montgomery's knee. It's it's a game against the Giants. Yeah, it's out there in the Meadowlands. So let the knee rest. Let the knee rest, and let's get a start out of Herbert. Not just for the collective, but for the Bears as a whole.
I mean, for the Bears as a whole, I think it'll be great to have them both. A little thunder and lightning. If it's not thunder and lightning, at least it's a little bit of maybe some heavy rain and light rain going on there. I don't know.
No. I think I just want to see Herbert this week.
If you want it, if it is truly the best for the team, it's both. I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit more Herbert myself, to be honest.
Well, Clark, I'm talking about because of it. I'm not, writing off the great David Montgomery. I'm just saying if his knee's a little hurt, you might as well rest it. Like everyone thought, Justin Herbert, and speaking of Herberts, of the Chargers, was going to take a week to rest. And it turns out he
didn't
played.
it? That damn near cost us. Whew. Yeah.
Was I wrong in starting Justin Fields there, though? Were we wrong? Because
no, I felt right.
What were you going to do?
We're homers? Is it because we're homers? I mean, we did our fantasy show. Last week at the end of the show, we were going to start our fantasy show. Then things kind of went sour at the end of the Sports Attic. We started our fantasy show on Friday morning at 5:00, which we could discuss later in this show too. The thoughts on that, but that morning. You had said, yep, everybody's on them, but we're going to stay off of, in your DFS, you were saying,
yeah,
we're going to stay off the Bears. But that felt right in our year-long league. It really did.
Yeah, it did. Because look, Chicago had the early game. You had 2, and this guy Kahlil, I was on the Bear Down program. He calls me now. Never call me in the morning on Sunday morning. I'm not picking up, okay. But then he wises up and he texts me. He's like, "Hey, I got a fantasy question." He's like, "I have Justin Herbert, and my backup is Justin Fields. What do I do? And I go, look, man, Vegas has dropped the over-under on that game by 7 points. Vegas believed he wasn't going to
It
start.
was like 39. Oh, no, the Bears one dropped too, but go ahead. Yeah, Vegas got scared off.
Yeah. I mean, then they were probably right there. They were right really on both accounts. Because, like, look, even if Herbert starts, the dude's taking a shot of pain meds to go ahead and play that game, and his production's not going to be as strong. So
Right.
you don't risk it, and you don't risk it and start the guy who might not start, and then you have 0 points at the quarterback position. You go with Justin Fields playing the Houston Texans, who's going to give you at least 14 fantasy points. But no, he can't give us even 14 points. This guy's got to fucking give me negative points in the Scott Fish Bowl. And, on DraftKings, he gives you 6 points, 7 points in fantasy football. So just a disaster all around. So I told a lot of people to start Justin Fields this week. And, man, I have egg on my face. And, we cannot ignore the fact of that offensive line any longer. You got to really fade this team as a whole.
So it seems like the offensive line is fine with running. Is that scheme? They're fine with the
It's easier to run block than it is to pass block. I mean, everyone knows that. It's just a lot easier to go ahead and
the all 22s maybe tonight or tomorrow. Doing a little work from home, maybe. I'll watch the all 22. I want to see, was Fields getting rid of the ball? Was he? I don't recall that to make sure. Is he getting rid of the ball in a timely manner? Is that happening?
He's getting it immediately. He's as soon as he snaps that ball, there's pressure on him. There's somebody breaking free, and he's running. He's
have you seen what they're all doing now? Like the guys on the ends are crashing. So when he does that rollout, they're right there. They're right there a lot. That's why
everyone knows it's coming.
That's why the run's helping to open up the run, which is great. And Herbert's great at taking advantage of that. He's been doing a fantastic job. It's good.
But when is that going to catch up? When's that going to catch up with you? And you're going to go up against a real defensive line. As a matter of fact, let's maybe take a peek at the grade on the defensive line of the New York Giants.
One thing there about the Giants that look that up real quick too, but to flip it around, you had said earlier, who's going to stop Saquon Barkley? You know who showed up in a big way for the first time in week 3? Not just with the game-saving interception, but Roquan Smith.
Roquan,
yeah. Kahlil showed up week 1. He just happened to be playing in a Chargers uniform.
Right.
Kahlil Herbert showed up as well. But yeah, no. He seems to be maybe getting in a little bit better game shape. He took some time off during spring or during training camp, so maybe he's just getting into that role in the will linebacker role.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. He's betting on himself, right? He needs a good year. So, just a thought with him there.
So here we go. This is according to the great offensive line expert Brandon Thorne of Establish the Run. He ranks the New York Giants defensive line as the 12th best in the league. The Giants pass rush is quietly one of the most talented on paper entering the 2022 season, thanks to the addition of top 5 pick Kayvon Thibodeau, who was an enticing blend of speed and power. Don't quote me.
What was that name again?
Yeah, I'm not saying it again. Given the unit one of the most promising young sets of bookends in football with second-year pro Aziz Ujulari on the other side. I'm not saying that again. With the top 10 quality interior rusher, Leonard Williams in the middle, the trio has a chance to surprise people this season, pose significant problems for opposing offensive line due to their blend of size, power, and explosiveness. So the Bears are in trouble again, man. I mean, this is a better than average defensive line, damn near a top 10 defensive line in football against this lowly, terrible, pathetic Chicago Bears offensive line that is starting a rookie from Wyoming out at the left tackle, a 5th round draft pick from Wyoming, Clark. Yeah. I mean, just brutal. So I'm very concerned. And I mean, the Saquon Barkley, fire him up this week in your fantasy football with confidence. Play him in your the daily. I mean, his ownership's probably going to be steamed pretty high. But yeah, I mean, it's there's a lot of concern for the Chicago Bears team.
Sure. Yeah. I would say I appreciate that you try, that you give it an effort to say the names. Like I feel like a lot of folks wouldn't even give it a shot to go for it.
If I wasn't
let's
reading
see.
it on the spur, like if I actually practiced it, I probably could get the names pretty accurate.
Prep. It's whatever. No, I'm just playing. Yeah, that's the Giants for next week. Let's see. A noon start time, yeah?
Good. Yeah.
A lot more noon. Yeah. There's really no
We have
reason
those
to put this
horrible
team on prime time anymore this season. I don't know why. But then week 6, in a few weeks here, we're going to be against the Commanders, Ron Rivera and the Commanders here at home. We should try to go to that game on the 13th. It's a Thursday night. You come down by my work. We'll hop on a couple divvies. We'll write them down. I'll show you how easy it is to get there.
Where do you? I don't know, man. Maybe. I'm against going to football games, especially going to Soldier Field games. And Sundays are the Lord's day of rest and the fantasy's day of
When are you going to
concern.
sleep? And when are you going to get your fantasy? Yeah, I don't even know. You could stop in my office, use the Wi-Fi real quick to double check last minute things. I don't know.
Well, what I'm saying is a Thursday game is doable for me. It's not a Sunday game.
That makes sense. Yeah. I did say Thursday. I got a little thrown off. I see quite a few people watching us over on Twitch, watching on YouTube, watching on Facebook Live. Thank you all so much for doing that. The phone lines are open. If we missed your call earlier, give us a ring. I didn't catch anything, Al, but I'll do a better job of keeping an eye on that at 760-454-8834. 760-454-8834. What was that?
You'll catch the monkeypox is what you're to catch.
Uh-oh. Do you know anybody who has it?
No. Come on.
Yeah, that kind of just faded out.
I'm very tilted this week, Clark. The cable company, these criminals at Comcast, these organized thugs at the Comcast office decided I needed a new cable box. Now, I didn't ask for a new cable box. I didn't want a new cable box. Perfectly happy with the cable box I had. Now, I have to figure out how to return their old cable box to them, or they start charging me. And, these thugs, they send guys to your house, and they take fingers off if you don't pay them. I mean, and they charge you, the rake on this Comcast, the VIG is so high, man. Like they're just straight up criminals. I would rather be in the cable game than in the illegal gambling trade these days. Okay. I would rather be selling cable than drugs. I mean, the profit margin is so much higher, and just disgusting.
My dog stepped on a bee.
So these people
they've got a store right down. They've got a store right down there by Clybourne. Or by Lincoln and Belmont and Ashland. There's a store right around there.
Why don't they send somebody over here to pick the shit up then? They're right down the street, as you say.
No, you just drop it off. Just walk in. Here you go.
Clark, I live the nightlife, man. I am a creature of the night. Oh.
Unless you go for the emissions test at 8 in the morning and go to get your sticker, but they wouldn't give you a sticker. You can be too early for the sticker.
No. I went to get the sticker. The lady who smokes, every lady who works at the currency exchange overnight.
Yeah.
Every lady who works currency exchange past midnight, they smoke. You can see the cartons piling up behind them. They've got cigarettes coming out of their ears as they're sitting there behind that bulletproof glass. That lady tells me, she's like, "Sweetheart, you got to get the emissions test." And I'm thinking she needs to get an emissions test for her lungs. Anyways, I get in the car and I knew I had to get the emissions test because they sent a little piece of paper. I was just, seeing if I could slip one by.
Yeah.
And
gave it a shot once. Can't do it.
So last year I had to go to another organized. These thugs, they also the emissions. They're right up there with the cable company. They send you to a mechanic after you fail. The mechanic's right down the street. This dude charged me like $200. He did zero work on my car. All he did was file some paperwork that got me to be able to go buy my sticker without getting anything done. So I figured, well, instead of just going to the emissions and wasting my time there, I'm going to just drop my car off there. I think they actually take the car to the emissions themselves and I don't know, they slip them some money or whatnot and get the thing done. So I was going to drop it off there. They opened at 8 a.m. I am not a morning person. Me driving in the morning, I'm basically a drunk. I haven't been drinking, but my reflex time and my dealing with people in the morning is very, very different. So
Absolutely.
I drive all the way out there, and I'm sitting in my car, and I look, and I wait, and right as it opens, I go, wait a minute, and I look at my the thing in the car, and it's like, no, you have to, because I remember last year I got this done the week of Thanksgiving, because I remember it was a pain in the ass to get them to do it. So I'm going to get this done early November, but I figured, well, why spend the money now? I probably could have just gotten it out of the way, but why do it now? Let me wait. Let me wait a month.
Yours is done at the end of November.
Yeah, November.
I was gonna say I know a guy who might have one that's good through the end of December, still sitting on a plate that's just sitting in his garage. You could just borrow that one for a little while. I don't know. This year's stickers, Al, they don't have a personalized number on them.
Nice.
They don't have your license plate number on them, nor do they have a month. I read somewhere that was like the printer screwed up and printed them all out, and they're like, well, fuck, we got to go with them now. So they're all green. They all say 23 on them. And so I don't know. I guess you can just, if you were up in January 1, you could just keep that sumbitch through the 23rd of the end of the year. I don't know. Or trade with me for next year's.
Or maybe somebody could buy me a sticker.
Do you want
and then
my
I could
city
pay that
stickers?
back.
Good. My city sticker's good until June. And
The city stickers. I have no problem with the city sticker. They don't require the thuggeries.
But I'm not using it.
Right.
Yeah.
So
that's not
these criminals at the cable company send me a new box. Now I have to move the TV. I got to unplug things. I plug this box in, Clark, and there is no clock on the cable box. What kind of backwards, what kind of society are we living in where we're stepping backwards that they're getting rid of the clock on the cable box?
I haven't seen a clock on the cable box in a long time. You got to talk to my wife. This goes back to when the first kid was born, breastfeeding. She couldn't see a clock anymore. You can't even look at your watch when you're doing that kind of work, feeding a kid. I'm sorry, this is probably going places you weren't expecting, but she was pissed about the clock as well. This was 5 years ago. They took our clock away. Took it away.
I have the cable in the bedroom / the attic / the
Even
studio.
the fucking Alexas, the Echo Dot has a clock right on the speaker in the front now.
I had to go on Amazon and order a clock. So it's waiting downstairs right now. I'm going to set the clock up right on top of the cable box. So I have this problem fixed. And I bought one that looks like the cable clock box, just for old time's sake. But I wake up, and
don't you have a clock on everything already? Like you have your computer here, you have the TV there, you have your watch, you have your phone.
Absolutely not. I know the time just by my head. I'm a master of time, Clark. You know this about me. If you could tell me, you could tell me, we could be in the middle of the desert. I've been stranded in the desert before, Clark. You know this. And you could go, Al, what time is it? And I will tell you the time within 15 minutes of the actual time. I could do this anytime. But when I first wake up in the morning, I can be a little disoriented. So I don't have the clock set yet. My internal clock, I need to look at one clock to get the internal clock set to update this. So when I wake up, and I sleep obviously during the day. So let's say I get up at 1 o'clock to take a piss. I wait. The first thing I do, I wake up and I look at the TV at the cable box. And I go, okay, it's 1:30. This is the middle of the night for me. Let me go to the bathroom and let me go back to sleep. Now, what I would have to do is, and you saw it today because I was up at noon and I'm very tired and cranky right now. I wake up and I look at the phone. Once you touch the phone, man, it's over. The phone will take you in directions you didn't even know you could go. The phone will bend you in all kinds of ways. You will lose focus. You will be checking fantasy updates. You will see, somebody texted you. There'll be a news story breaking. Whatever the case may be, you look at the phone, it's over.
You got me.
So
I understand completely.
Yeah. So, man, I can't. I got to have the clock.
All right, the clock is already coming, so this is a little bit late, but I wish you would have hit me up first. What if you just went with the old, hey, Siri, what time is it?
I don't want to talk in the morning. I don't want to
Hey,
hear my
Siri,
voice. I'm resting
what
my
time is
voice.
it? Hey Siri, what time is it? Nope, she missed it. Mel, it doesn't work.
See
So
how
you're right.
frustrating
Should we
that
go?
is? I don't
Should
want
we
to
try
dick
the
with that in the
phones?
morning. Yeah, let's go to the phones.
Let's go. Let's go to caller in the 312. Caller, thank you for calling. What is your name? Where you're coming from, and what are your thoughts on the big cable
And
company?
his name is John C.
Texas. I hate them.
Uh-oh. Elijah hates
I got rid of mine a long time ago, and I never looked back.
streaming. Just the streams these days, huh? These days, huh? No more cable company.
That's right. I'm beaming because I'm streaming.
Streaming Willie Beeman, man. That's the way everyone's going.
Eli, it's great to hear from
you.
you.
Haven't gotten there yet, Al.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm a traditionalist. You know, sometimes it takes a little bit to change. And I have so many streaming services. I might as well. I probably spend more money. I could be driving a Cadillac with the amount of money I spend on media a month.
Yeah. Hey, what's on your mind? You don't want to call to talk about the Bears, do you? Down from your neck of the woods after that big battle against your local team these days.
Hey, it was nice to be wearing my Bears gear outside for a while and not feeling ashamed. I don't think I got too many weeks of it. So.
That's great.
Wore it loud and proud that night.
Do it.
It was nice.
Do it when you can, I guess, huh?
Do people give you shit? Are they like, hey, you got on the wrong color jersey there, boy?
Yeah, you get a few comments. But it's all right. They're all about the college and high school down here.
On Saturday, I gave a tour to 7 guys about our age who were in town from Texas, going to the game the next day. They were nice dudes. They were great. We did well.
Are we going to get on these magic machines that move you?
We just discussed how both teams were in very poor places. I just said to them, I go, hey, guys, what do you think? Super Bowl preview here? Hey, it works as a tour guide. Anyway, your thoughts, Elijah. What's up?
Well, I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about the game, if that's all right.
Please.
Again, I thought our punter did a great job.
Excellent.
He's looking like the real deal there.
Great. I think you said that the last time you called in.
Yeah, I complimented him then. I was waiting for him to let me down or get hurt because that's usually how it happens. And no, he showed up again. So we got a player in this punter.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate you looking at the positives, and that certainly is the positive. We have a decent punter. We have some good defensive linemen.
I think there's a little more positive there. Yeah, good defensive lineman.
Not much though.
No. Good running back.
No, there's not much.
This
are looking pretty solid, and you know what? Our offensive line, I'll upgrade them from horrendous to not bad.
Oh, I wouldn't go there.
Yeah, Al's not happy with the pass blocking.
Don't buy in because there's a running game that the offensive line has anything to do with it. Like, you can put meat out there and you can still run a ball. Like the complicated, the aspect of football is you being able to pass block, and the Bears cannot do that. I mean, this team is about as good as the Quantum Leap reboot. I mean, that's where we're at. That's where our quality is.
Quantum Leap reboot was a little bit. It was a little better last night, by the way. Just for the record, Al. Just so you know that. Just a little bit better. Just a little bit better there. Al, didn't you say that Houston's defensive line had been ranking
dead last? Yeah, dead last. So 5 sacks from the worst defensive line in football.
So I guess Eli, I'll give you a not bad. Fine. Let's get a bigger sample size, though. I'm not ready.
Well, I called to get your guys' input on a few things.
Please.
One, this Pringle injury, right?
Yeah.
I know we haven't seen much of him, but I think this was really going to hurt us more than what we thought before. I mean, with Komet being a bust, and and the other wide receivers not really showing up, and I mean, he was the only bright spot I saw in a while.
Well, I think, I mean, Komet made a couple catches. He was finally there. But yeah, I don't know what's.
Well, Clark, I'm surprised you're not touting your guy, St. Brown, too. The
Yeah,
other St. Brown, who
I mean,
they've been using him in the run game. He's actually has a positive score in Pro Football Focus. He has a 72.4. He's actually the 28th highest graded wide receiver in football right now. If we could get him the ball, we might have another St. Brown on our team.
if we can get maybe Valus Jones Jr. some reps in there. I mean, as we know, this season, I mean, what's the difference between 8-8 and 6-10, or 8-9-8, 8-9, and 6-11? It doesn't matter to me. Like, whatever. Let's just see what we have. Let's bring him back in.
Man, you're looking at a maybe top 10 draft pick versus middle of the pack.
Well, then fine. I'd rather have 6-10 or 6-11 then. At that
I'd rather
point.
have 4. I'm sticking with my 4 wins.
There you go. That's fine too. But I'm just saying, like, let's see what else we have. Pringle's going to miss what, a minimum 4 games right now. That's what we know with this injury.
Okay. Good.
When is Valus Jr. come back? I don't think he was on the IR, was he?
No, he's just tiny and useless.
He was not on the IR.
Al hasn't
He's a
been
terrible
fan of
draft
this
pick.
guy. It was a horrible draft pick to Al.
He's 42 years old.
He's not 42 years old.
He's
You're
40.
43.
He's 41 years old.
Yeah. How old's Tom Brady?
Old, yeah. And look at him, dust. The man is dust in the wind. It's a Kansas song, for Christ's sake. Cole Kmet currently ranked 48th out of 65 qualifying tight ends. He has a receiving score of 52.4, which is 39th out of 45th. And he has a run blocking score of 61.6, which is 20th out of 60.
Bust.
I know.
Here are your
I know,
current.
Clark, you like him, but,
here are your
still not
current.
seen it, but,
No, I mean, I haven't seen it yet. I don't know. Like, it's just, let's just keep him playing. Let's see what happens. Right now, here are some free agent names out there. Al, Eli, John Ross, Will Fuller, Odell Beckham Jr., T.Y. Hilton. I'll tell you something. I don't think Odell's coming to the Chicago Bears.
I was just saying, anybody with quality isn't coming here. I hear where Will Fuller has he's disappeared.
Yeah,
he's in the woods somewhere. No
They
one
can't
knows where
find him
he
anymore.
is.
Possible trades: Denzel Mims, New York Jets; Darius Slayton, Kenny
No, there's
Galladay,
no-
New York Giants. You don't want that.
You're a 4-win team, man. There's no need to trade anybody. You wait till next year. You deal with what you have.
I just
Again,
got that from John Schrock at Yahoo Sports.
very small sample size, but Aquarius St. Brown is ranked 28th out of 170 qualified wide receivers.
Of the angel Aquarius. Is that
His run grade is what's really carrying him right now. 53rd out of 106 at run, and 65.8 in receiving. 53 out of 106. By the way, Justin Fields' Pro Football Focus score dead last in the league, 33 out of 33, and with a 43.0 out of 100 score. So, things not looking good, man.
You missed earlier, Eli. Al was actually backing Fields up quite a bit here, and it surprises me knowing his score there that you just bring up, Al, because you are the fantasy guru of the show, of course. So I'm a little, I don't know, I'm a little surprised that you still got the. I guess maybe it's not a faith in Fields; it's just a let's see what happens.
I'm just not ready to. I'm more concerned now than I was last week, but I'm not ready to write him off.
He talked me off the cliff last week and this week. I mean, Al, when I was pretty down on Justin Fields, and then you came back with the stats that the Green Bay Packers in San Francisco are both top, I believe, 5 defenses.
Yeah,
so
one and 4.
And then when you talked to, I'm sorry.
Yeah, they were ranked 1st and 4th, so top 5. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so that got me on the field. Like, okay, maybe I'm not going to jump off the bandwagon yet, and then. Again, I was kind of down on him after this week, and then Al chimed in again and started talking about the 5 sacks and everything else. And every time I'm just about done, Al pulls me back in. So it's always good. He is the ultimate optimist here.
Yes, I'm a field optimist. It's true, man. Like I want to believe in the guy. I want him to be good. He if he's good, he is the future of the Bears, and the Bears' future is bright. If not, we're in a lot of trouble. And I'm not ready to write him off just yet because of a horrible offensive line. But my concern is growing every week. That there's no doubt. I think you'd have to be a fool not to say, okay, there's some passes he made. And he came out after the game, man, and he manned up and he said, look, I had a bad game. I played terrible, and this can't happen. This can't continue to happen. I like the man. I like the man behind the mask. I like the dude with the square jaw. He's a good dude, and he believes in himself. And I'm watching this documentary on Netflix, 36 parts,
Yeah, where's
45
that?
minutes each. I'm 5 episodes in now on the history, the life and times of Vicente Fernandez, the great El Rey, the king of the mariachi. And I don't know how they're going to do 36 hours on this guy. It's a mini series. It's not a documentary. It's a mini series on him. But the one thing about Vicente is even when he was a little kid in the whorehouses in Tijuana, Mexico, this guy believed in himself, and he believed he was going to be the greatest singer in the world. And even though time after time, tragedy, there's the evil mariachi of death chasing him episode to episode, taking away his friends, taking away his family. But Chiante keeps going forward, man. In order to succeed, you got to turn over every rock. But when you turn over rocks, that's where the scorpions hide, my friends. And right now, the media, the Bears fan, the toxicity of Twitter, that is the scorpions under the rocks that Justin Fields are turning over. And how he survives that, he will either be the El Rey or he'll be a failure.
Oh boy.
It reminds me a lot of Mr. Trubisky, a guy I was rooting for, easy to root for as well.
Yeah.
I think Fields definitely has a lot more skills at this point than Trubisky. But, if it's okay, I'd like to shift topics because I really like to get your opinions on where the hell's Darnell Mooney? Our big number. This is our number one. He is a number one going into the season.
He's not.
And I haven't seen a number one. Number one, you grow up and they try to make a play, and I'm not seeing it.
Again, and I mean it all comes back to the offensive line problems. When you got a guy, when you have a quarterback who's forced to throw the ball immediately. Now to your point, both Justin Fields and Darnell Mooney, elite stars, make things happen. And these guys are not making things happen, but I don't think they're in a point in their career where they should be. Maybe more so with Mooney. Mooney, as you said, he is ranked 97th out of 170 eligible wide receivers in Pro Football Focus, one of the lowest rated wide receivers. Now, historically speaking, 2022, he scored a 68.7. 2021, he scored a 74.7. This year, he's at a 53.8. Remember, the Bears have only thrown the ball at most, 13 times in a game, 17 times in a game? I mean, that's pathetic. I mean, when you're talking about a guy, a receiver only gets about 20%, like 20% is high for a receiver to get of targets. So, you say 10% of 17, you're talking about 1.7 passes thrown his way, 1.7 targets. What are you supposed to do with that? But to your point again, he hasn't shown like some amazing skill. He's not getting open. But again, he doesn't have time to get open because they have to throw the ball immediately. So it's a whole conundrum that comes back to the offensive line each and every time.
Now, with knowing that, right, troubles with the offensive line, not getting the ball in the hands of your supposed stars, I've yet to see a wide receiver screen or some kind of bubble pass or something to him. You would think that that's something they would try, right? I mean,
you would think they would get more creative for sure.
In front, get it out wide and get in his hands and see what he can do.
St. Brown had some plays going. They got him involved a little bit in the running game. So, I think you're right. They should be scheming more to Darnell Mooney's potential. 3 targets week 1 for 1 catch for 8 yards. 2 targets week 2, 1 catch, -4 yards. He did have 6 targets last week, so almost half of the Bears' passing targets went to him. He only caught 2 balls for 23 yards. So, again, you don't have opportunity, you can't make things happen. But with limited opportunities given, he isn't making anything happen. So, concerning.
I don't know. I've been watching the games with my buddy, and he's like, since last year, been off the fields train. Every time he throws one that is nowhere near a receiver, it's over. It's the end of the world. And like, I get it. Like, I understand people getting upset about it, but Al, everything that you've said, I'm still with you. Like, let's let this play out. Let's see him have a little bit more time. Let's see the offense be able to figure out how to get around. When he goes to roll out, you're going to have that guy crashing in. Let's figure out how to block. There was one time there that you saw that he got sacked so quick. You saw the 2 offensive guys not knowing their assignments, pointing at the guys they were going to block, and the dude just blew untouched because he knew that neither one were going to come at him. Like it was it looked like that was great. It looked just like junior tackle football out there, and maybe not even junior tackle. Maybe you're going lower than that. I don't know. It could get so frustrating right now. But as I said, 6-8, 4-4, 6-11, 4. You know what I'm trying to say here. The best that it could be is 8-8, 9-8. I don't know.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
The worst thing that can happen is that we come out of the season and we don't know. We're at the same point of knowledge that we went into it. It's just for 16 games, or are they at 17 now? I don't remember. I think 17. If he plays the full season and is just meh, or at this point, if Darnell Mooney doesn't get any better, if Cole Kmet only gets a little bit better, does this tell you anything? Does it tell you a direction where to go? That's my biggest fear. We come at the end of the season and Justin Fields had a few flashes, Mooney had a few flashes, but is it enough to
I think
draft a new quarterback or something?
I think we're going to get a lot of answers on defense. I don't think we're going to get a lot of answers on offense. I appreciate Hawk's spirit of 10 wins, but I know.
I can't tell if
Kool-Aid,
that
man.
is.
Just
I mean,
Kool-Aid.
that really seems like it might just be, possibly a little sarcasm in there. And then if they're 10 wins, that's 10-7. Unfounded Bears optimism will not be tolerated from.
Let's not forget though, as a fantasy guru, one of the things I look for is bad quarterbacks in fantasy football, and the belief was actually Justin Fields was going to be that guy, but you follow a lot of bad quarterbacks when you do this, and for years, Josh Allen was considered a bad quarterback who was just good at fantasy football, who wasn't going to really amount to much. He was probably going to be a journeyman quarterback. I mean, Buffalo was ready to dump this guy, 2 years out. The fans were, not so much the organization. Jalen Hurts, the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, there were talks last year, is this guy just a bridge guy? Is this guy just filling a gap? Right now, he's a top, 8 quarterback in the league.
I don't know, Al. It may not matter in fantasy football for a guy who in the Todd's Tiki League drafted him with A.J. Brown. It doesn't matter how I score all the points in the world and somebody finds a way to score more. It's fine. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm a little upset about it.
So what I'm saying is, Trevor Lawrence, he's not much farther than Fields, and he has a much more complete team around him. I mean, terrible owners. I mean, this Khan family can't run anything. You know what I mean? Soccer, football, wrestling. These Khans are just terrible managers.
So far, that football team's not doing so bad so far. Don't run off there. Captain Kirk doing all right for us a little bit. Christian Kirk down there.
Yeah, that shows just how bad of a coach Cliff Kingsbury is over there in Arizona. Guy's a fake genius. The guy was garbage. he had Christian Kirk, didn't know how to use him. Doesn't know how to use his wide receivers. Man, Arizona's struggling mightily, and he's one of these guys who like Martz or who is the other big offensive guru the Bears got? Even our last coach.
I think you can also say that the Jaguars maybe they got lucky by being able to let that head coach go last season, that college coach fella, that Urban Meyer. Al, you mean the future Chicago Jaguars, who will be our hometown team soon enough when they move them down to the lakefront. I don't know if you noticed that they don't have a huge fan base as it is. They might as well come somewhere else in a great city right here on the lakefront, where they might as well move up here. Let's bring them up, Al.
No,
Gentlemen,
I mean, send them to. Go ahead.
I have 2 questions, and I got 3 questions, and then I'll get off the phone with you and then listen to you as I always do. It's always great to talk to you. One,
Eli, I'm sorry. We only have a 2-question maximum here. We have a very tight schedule. But
Eli,
you know what? Because you're a regular, we're gonna let 3 through.
you're gentlemen. You're both gentlemen and scholars. I tell you. That's why I've always been an alcoholic from the beginning.
Wait, hang on. Not
right on, brother.
You've been in. You've been out.
Hey, brother.
Typical Clark bar over here. Okay, so first, Al, how's that new Madden? Is it worth picking up if I haven't picked up a new one in 5 years? 2, when do we start blaming the coaching staff instead of the players? I mean, even with the scheming against bad teams, I would expect a little bit better if this coaching staff was what they're supposed to be. And 3, Clark, are you going to be Clark in Displays instead of Clark in Chicago on your Twitter handle? I'll hang up and listen to your answers. Thank you.
There's no blueprint on how to beat me.
Well, thank you for the call, Eli. I appreciate it.
I forgot all 3 questions already. Oh, we should have went one at a time. Oh, Madden. First off, Madden.
Yep.
Of the last 5 years, I don't think this is the best version of it. But if you haven't bought the game in 5 years, I guess it's worth getting. It is a little frustrating with the interceptions. That's a big problem. Like, there's just a lot of interceptions, especially if you're playing in the Bears. I'm enjoying the game, but usually by now, having the game, for over a month, I'd be like 2 seasons in. I'm like 10 games into a season. I play like once, every couple days. It definitely hasn't grabbed me, and I haven't played enough games to really give it a fair score. So it's incomplete right now, but I do think it's a capable football game, and I am kind of enjoying playing it. What was question 2?
That's the one that gets a little bit fuzzy on me here.
Something about coaching staff?
Yeah, coaching staff. Bears. Maybe we're gonna get a chat of that one. I could answer mine. Am I going to be Clark in Displays on Twitter? I know we're going to get into that a little bit more about online and Twitter at some point here. But I'm not moving to Displays at the moment. So no, maybe Clark in Arlington Heights if I'm going to be a season ticket holder for the Bears when they move. Remember last week? I'm on board. I'm 100% on board.
Good.
I still wish they could build it on the lakefront. I'd be more on board. But
I play all my season was shit.
I'm happy about the stadium. Hawker thinks it should be Clark in the Burbs.
I think you should just stay off of Twitter, quite frankly. I mean, I think that's probably the best option.
Well, here's my thing, Al. I've given it a thought. I might. Clark in Chicago, that persona that I've talked to you about, this online presence, I've talked a lot about it. And I don't know. I might be done with the handle. I just might need a breather. I might need to restart my follows, redo the tweet line. I'm thinking of, thank you. There he is. Eli, jump back on with your question. But as far as the Twitter handle goes, I'm giving it a thought. I've had a placeholder out there. You want me to be me on Twitter, and I need to just be myself out there, and maybe my Twitter handle is just my name. I've given it a thought. I might roll with that. from
Now,
here
to
on.
be honest, you have like 15 Twitter accounts already. So even when you cancel one of your accounts, you're still able to troll around Twitter using different accounts. So it's not like you're completely gone. I don't believe you've
Right.
walked
But I'm
away.
using one that I started. It's been right now. The one that I've been using the last few days. I haven't walked away. Not a chance. Did I say that I did? I never said that I left Twitter.
It's just weird.
I never
Like
once
if
said
you're
I
going to be
did.
on Twitter anyways, why shut down an account?
Well, you've been on me a lot. I shut it down the other night when you and I had an argument. You and I had an argument going on. I shut it down that night. I said, "Fuck it. I'm done with socials." Al
Good.
and I
I
are never
won.
talk again
Thankfully, I
anymore.
won that war.
The last time I left Facebook and blocked you, oh, the fucking world ended, and we'd been blocking each other and unfriending each other for 10 years. Like 10 years. So I was like, fuck it. Now I'm officially done until I apologize the next day. But
No, I apologize too. I mean, it was a two-way. We both lost our cool.
absolutely.
Now, Hawk is claiming the mob misses you. I don't think that's accurate. I think there's a lot of people in that mob happy that you're not around.
Well, because Hawker and I also had a bit of an argument on Twitter as well. That went on at the same time, and
Yeah,
I'll be
well,
honest, like,
Hawker was
all of it.
kind of the
It was
Franz
all of it.
Ferdinand of World War II. I mean, it did stem there, but
I should have done better in history, but yeah. No, I in all honesty, like, I don't know, man. Like, why don't I just roll with my name? I started that account in 2016 as a placeholder. It's still there. It's kind of nice that I'm restarting with like 20 follows, you know. So I don't know. That's it. I don't know. You think what do you think? Should I
well,
just
I
go
think
in with
my middle name was
President
actually
Ferdinand?
my middle name is actually named after Franz Ferdinand.
There it is.
That's where my middle name comes from. Yeah.
There you go. So I don't know. And then Eli he jump back in with the question. So that's it. Do you think if the Bears are 4 wins, it's part of the coaching staff? Like, when do you start blaming them? Like, what do you think? Is it? I think that this is all about growth myself, Al.
I'm more offended by polls than I am the coaching staff. And I think my anger is going to be more towards polls putting this incomplete offensive line on the field in this season, even knowing that it was a blow up season. Like, it's okay to punt, a season of football. I get it. I understand where they were going, but to try to develop a quarterback, I mean, the only focus in the offseason should have been just offensive line. That should have been it, because everything else is a learning process of what you have. And again, everything stems from that one position. All our failures, all our questions about Mooney, our questions about Komet, our questions about Fields, all revolve around the offensive line not being able to do their job for us to be able to see what we have. So, I mean, that's where my anger is going to go, and it's not there yet. I mean, I'm still holding back, but it's coming, man. It's coming. The rage will be unleashed probably week 6 on this very program.
You want to do a wrestle?
So I'm surprised. You're there at the 4 wins, and here is palm lick the palm for guava. Our guy.
Is that some kind of drug reference?
I guess I don't know. I'm too old. He has 5 more wins there. New York Giants, Minnesota once, Washington, Atlanta, and the New York Jets. So that would be 7 wins. That's
pissed up a rope, man.
That's a lot of wins. And then there's a bit of an argument, Hawk and Guava there, discussing. Hawk thinks there's 2 wins against Detroit. I don't think there's 2 wins against Detroit.
No, I don't either. Listen, the Detroit Lions are an underrated team right now. They have a fantastic offense. I understand the sun god, St. Brown.
Yeah, we'll see how he is.
Yeah, it looks promising.
The brother.
It looks promising. Yeah, the sun god. The sun god looks very promising right now to be returning. They have a legitimate, really good offense. They play fast. They play in a dome. And that team is vastly underrated. Now, they have no defense. so you could shoot out with that team.
Go ahead.
But when you don't have an offense, it's almost impossible to win a shootout against a team like that. So I would put money right now. I mean, if I could bet futures on the Bears going 0-2 against the Detroit Lions this year.
Ooh, I think they get one. I will say Hawker, like and I'm impartial on this whole argument out here. But what I'm saying is I think that there is a chance that Hard Knocks could be influencing this decision for everybody here with thinking of how good Detroit is. I mean, St. Brown has been amazing.
No, Detroit's good.
That target share thing that we brought up on the Friday fantasy show, guys, which, by the way, every Friday morning at 5 a.m., you can watch the Fantasy Sports Podcast. You get your updates on daily fantasy for the week, find out who should be starting, who should be sitting, all of it. Al Archer, our guru, talks about it. It's live at 5 a.m., and the podcast becomes available soon after, so you can take us with you on your drive to work, on your drive home from work, to get you all set up for the main slate with the DFS, fantasy football. Listen to the show on those mornings.
Yeah, I mean, this is what Detroit's doing. 37 passing attempts week 1, 34 passing attempts week 2, 41 passing attempts week 3. Their completion rate's not great. It's actually worse than Justin Fields and the Bears, about 56, 58, 61. But, I mean, they're putting up 200-plus yards, 4 touchdowns week 2 against the Commanders, 2 touchdowns against the Eagles, 1 against the Vikings. They're not throwing interceptions. They're not taking sacks. They have a good running game with Swift. I know he's hurt, but Jamal Williams has been a touchdown machine in the red zone. I think he has more red zone touches than any player in the NFL right now. I had a guy over at Establish the Run, Evan Silva, a good Illinois guy. He was talking about Jamal Williams going into the week. He's like, man, play this guy in fantasy this week. He's going to get 2 touchdowns. And sure enough, the dude scored 2 touchdowns, 87 yards on 20 attempts. With Swift being taken out pretty during that game, struggling with some knee issues, and now it looks like he's out for a couple of weeks, which I'm sure is going to hurt me in some fantasy league.
Yeah. I don't know. I can see him getting some more wins. I can see 6 beating Washington.
I would still take I would take 4.
And I don't know. I don't know who the Packers are. I don't know who the Vikings are. Can they beat the Vikings twice? I don't know. Guava thought so.
Again, the Vikings are a team with an offense that can put up points that we can't stop. I mean, how do you stop these offenses? You can't pace with them.
What's Cook's injury?
It looks like he's out.
Yeah. Okay.
Actually, he's still projecting to play. He's still projected to play. So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see.
I do agree the Bears could probably beat the Vikings once. I would still I still think it's a 4-win season for us. So those wins are going to be hard to come by, and the Vikings absolutely could beat us 12. I don't think the Bears sweep them. I mean, I'm pretty confident about that. But 1-1, I think, is a realistic. I think split is very realistic there.
So,
but I would still put my money on the Vikings sweeping us.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. When we were talking to Eli, I put this tweet up there at 7:00. It just said hello, and I was wondering what in the hell that was. Right.
Well, Bailey took over the Twitter account. Said, "Hello, ding dong."
What do you mean, Bailey?
No, never mind. You don't watch wrestling. I forget.
Oh yeah. Well, it was the same kind of thing because guess who had taken it over? There you go.
Oh, is it Dick Butkus?
Yeah. Hang on. Oh, wait, hang on. Oops, didn't mean to tweet that. Not sure how to delete. Man, I think his nephew might be running it for him. Does just such a great job.
You think it's an Iron Sheik deal? You think it's a Sheiky baby where the nephew's running the account?
Oh, I mean, yeah, and I mean no disrespect by that. I mean, I hope you know that I'm being like respectful on that.
We'll just see about that.
Like, and if not, like he's smart enough to know to do it, right? Like, oh, it's fantastic.
Sure.
It's wonderful content. It's glorious.
Did you know Teddy Long unfollowed Dick Butkus this weekend?
Uh-oh. Wait, what?
Yeah, you don't. Oh, you're off of Twitter, so you have no idea what's going on.
What
Oh,
does
but
Teddy
you're on
Long
fake Twitter.
What does Teddy
I'm
Long
so
have to do
confused.
with-
There's so many Twitters with you, Clark.
Hang on, I'll get that fixed. Hang on. What does Teddy Long have to do with
Teddy Long was trending this weekend because he was unfollowing everybody. Like
and
all his like friends, enemies, like he was just unfollowing everybody on Twitter. But
Teddy
it turns out
Long
he was
of the WWE formerly, right?
playa
Turned out what?
WCW, referee in WCW,
Yep. There you go. Well, what was it?
manager of Harlem Heat. Well, it turns out his account was hacked. So,
Oh wow.
and he's an old man. He just didn't know what was going on.
Yeah. And I just tried to tell people to give a search for I just tried to tell people to give a search for us on Twitter or on YouTube, and I got it wrong. Here I am talking about like, Dick Buckus not being able to use Twitter himself and use the technologies. And here I screwed up like trying to get folks to go over to just take a look at our YouTube, just to click the like over there, to get a little traction there. What I want is traction for the fantasy show.
Acknowledge me. New England. Acknowledge me.
Uh-oh. Well, if I'm not on Twitter, Hawk, then how can I be following you? I'm off. I suspended my account. I've been suspended. I said something.
I follow Hawker. I mean, look,
Yeah.
and we probably disagree on a plethora of things.
I follow Hawker. It's just suspended. That's all.
Well, why don't you follow Hawker on one of your other accounts? I mean, you got so many.
We'll get there. I don't know. I haven't really been on it. Maybe I'll be on it tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see.
You're a very confusing person, Clark. I mean, really.
Yeah, I am.
And your Chicago flag has given up on you because it knows it's garbage. The city's falling apart. It's for the flags are coming down. The Bears are leaving, going to Arlington Heights.
Yeah,
I'm going to be the only thing left in Chicago.
Speaking of in Chicago, I want to thank you. Yesterday morning, I texted you when you were going to doing all your stuff. Mondays are mine and my youngest day, Vera. She turns 4 on October 8th. And I said, Al could probably give me a bikeable diner if bike with her in the trailer and we can find one. And you came up with one. You thought it might be too far. I'll tell you what, we weren't quite ready for the weather, but she did. I mean, she had a jacket on and she put her hands in her pockets. She was fine. But 20-minute bike ride was fine. We made it there. We had a great breakfast over at your joint. What's that place called?
Cafe Dolace.
Cafe. Yeah. Fantastic. Great stuff over there.
Yeah. My one of my favorite places over there in Albany Park. If you don't know Albany Park, it's a melting pot of America.
They were great. I have to tell you. Oh, go ahead.
If you look like on Wikipedia, Albany Park is one of the most diverse communities in the world. There's a mixture of every race, ethnicity, class, and this place, a couple Mexican family opened up this coffee shop, and they have fantastic coffee. They use who's the good coffee company I like, Clark?
Oh, it's the
Dark Matter.
I saw it. Dark Matter. That's absolutely it.
They have Dark Matter. They cook these fantastic breakfast meals. You get some avocado in there and some eggs and just great crepes. With the fresh strawberries. It's just a wonderful place to get a nice cup of coffee. You could get like a lavender coffee, or you could get coffee with some horchata in it. Just an awesome place. And I highly recommend it if you're looking for breakfast on Lawrence Avenue in Chicago, in Albany Park. I think they close early, like 5.
They do. Yeah. They close fairly early, I think.
It's a breakfast place.
I will say that I do get a little concerned going to a place like, so when I just ask you for a place, you go, here's my spot. And you're trying to help me out and everything. When I get there, I'm like, man, maybe just asking out outright isn't the right thing, because I need to be concerned about what's on the kids menu. Can I find a pancake
Crepes.
that's a special pancake? Can I find this that's special? And I don't know. So on the way there, I'm like, oh shit, I might have messed this up, because it's not like I asked a friend who has a kid who's been to a place and they're like,
No,
oh,
I knew.
because you got to keep them happy. I know, and I shouldn't have doubted you. I apologize for even doubting you. You're right. You knew, you did. But I'm saying it did cross my mind. I'm like, why would I ask, a single man about that with no children? Why would I ask somebody without kids? I wouldn't ask, but it worked out. It was fantastic. You were correct. You were right on the money. The eggs, I was going to go with crepes. I actually started to order that, and I said, I didn't see a kids menu. She's like, oh, we can do a kids breakfast. It was eggs. We did sausage. She had her choice. She picked sausage over bacon, which she does regret that choice. And it came with fruit and stuff. It was great. It was fantastic. She loved it.
Yeah, I mean they do. You could get like a nice crepe with some what's that? The hazelnut spread.
Yeah.
That stuff. Nutter
Oh,
fluff.
yeah, they have a Nutella one.
Nutella. That's it.
I almost pulled the trigger on that Nutella one.
Yeah, the Nutella one's very good.
Yeah, I was feeling that. Shoot, I thought I was going to be able to pull up the nope.
This is CNN.
The Clark News Network. What's going on over there?
I thought I might be able to pull up the
menu
picture. No, her hot chocolate, but it didn't seem like it. So yeah, she had brought it in a in a really nice cup, made the hot chocolate, really awesome. And then she said, here's the hot chocolate. There it is, Al. Right there.
Oh yeah.
They did the little tree in there, right? Great design. And then they were kind enough to just after that they were on top of it where they put it into a to-go cup with a straw. It was perfect. And it wasn't too hot. I got to tell you, it was absolutely. I mean, they knocked it out of the park.
They're insanely friendly, and they aim to please. I go there and I get my dark matter coffee, and they grind the bag up for me because I don't like grinder. I don't like dealing with dicking around with that. I just like pouring the coffee in the filter and drinking. So I get my dark matter coffee there. Oh, look at it. There's Vera. Vera never gets any love. It's always a Hazel this, Hazel that. But Vera, little gal.
No, don't even look at that. There's the dark matter coffee, black right there, chilling out. Not too shabby. Yeah, she gets the love, and she gets the love when we're out to eat too. Like people, yeah, she can't do anything wrong. So, thank you for that suggestion. Let me find it real quick. We gotta shout out the right name for it. You gave me the place, the address, but
yeah, Cafe do Leche.
Yeah,
I believe is it.
Yeah,
man, I'm all in there.
Cafe. Yeah, it was great.
I'm consumed by Mexican culture these days with El Rey. Man, I can't wait to jump back in there. This guy, he goes. So Vicente Fernandez, he gets picked up by this major record label.
Am I pronouncing that wrong? DULCE, then DELECHE Cafe.
So it's something milk.
It's there at 3441 West Lawrence.
Yeah, good spot.
You can stop by the pool store to grab a couple of the chemicals you need to shut down the pool because that season's over. All of it. It's great.
Not at the coffee. You don't get that at the coffee place though. That's coffee, Clark. You don't put that in your pool.
What's that?
You don't get your chemicals.
Oh, go ahead.
You don't get your chemicals from that place.
No. On the way home on Lawrence over there, Halogen over close to Cicero.
Sure, Halogen
highway there. Yeah. They're pretty good. Then put it on Patreon. Should we get Patreon? I don't know. What?
So Vicente gets this record deal, right? And he's about to sign, and his wife's pregnant with the baby, and the evil mariachi whose death is stalking him. And it turns out he signed a contract with another guy, a scam artist. So the scam artist is like, no, I want 40% of Vicente's contract. And
Mhm.
Vicente's like, no, I'd rather not work than pay this guy. I'd rather just sit at home and get a job selling shoes, And so they work that out, but this guy wants vengeance on Vicente. So he calls up his friend over at the Mexican Entertainment Tonight, and they book Vicente on the program, and they cut the interview with Vicente, but then they edit the comments. They're like, "What do you think of these legends in the mariachi business?" And they go ahead and they chop in. Oh, I think they all stink. I'm the greatest. And then they ask him about like his wife, and he's a family man. So they're like, what do you think about your wife? And he's like, oh, I'm for all the women on the road and all this. So that's screwed up. Now all his friends have abandoned him. The record label wants to drop him, and that's where we're at right now in the Vicente Fernandez story. I'll keep you guys updated throughout the
Yeah.
year on what's going on with Vicente Fernandez as the
Please
36-part
do, but
miniseries continues.
but one parent to another there, Eli just said over there on Twitch, Al, this is the movie Coco. I would have to say I agree. It's
Really?
very similar to yes, absolutely.
Do they show
there is,
little
like,
Coco?
there's Day of the Dead involved, and then you're in the afterlife and whatnot through a lot of it.
Okay.
But yeah, it's I mean, let me tell you, Al, somebody steals a song. Yeah, you can't wait. Remember me. No, I
Yeah,
have
there's a
to
lot of.
say that I
Oh
remember me.
no! You see, Vicente Fernandez sings like a Spanish god. Clark.
Yeah,
He's the Sammy
yeah, that's what I'm
Guevara
saying.
of
I
the
am also a
mariachis.
remember me, though I have to say
Oh, no,
remember me. Yeah,
they do this a lot when they sing.
beautiful.
Whoa!
Before the pandemic, Coco was actually there was a teaser trailer for Coco 2, and I haven't heard much else about it. But I'm gonna watch it.
Well,
Can't
I
wait.
mean, if you want to cry your eyes out, I highly recommend.
I think
It's in
Coco,
Spanish.
what
You got to read the
might
subtitles if you don't speak Spanish.
I'm in. I'm in on El Rey. I
No,
do
you're
think
not.
I'm in. I think.
No,
Tell me where to watch it. Which service?
Netflix. It's on Netflix.
Okay. Absolutely. I'll try tonight. Probably won't be able to do that, but maybe tomorrow night. But Coco, I think it's my favorite Disney movie of all time. I could be wrong. I might need a little more time on that, but I don't know.
I boycotted Disney. I don't touch Disney. Walt Disney was a horrible man. They were racists. They were homophobes. I mean, the whole Disney organization has been garbage. It's got a terrible history. So I don't touch Disney. I don't let my kids near it. Rygar is not allowed to watch those Siamese cats and get any bad ideas. So we don't support Disney in this household.
Crazy. Yeah. No, I do a little bit of Disney around here. We watch a little. Coco, watch that movie. You don't have to have kids to watch it. Please watch it. I think you'll like it. I don't understand. What's this reference to? Did you say something about me having lice? Oh, I think he wrote Clark's voice. Is that what you wrote? Yeah, there it is. He said thanks, Elijah.
You have lice?
No, he said best voice.
Gross.
Hey, Eli, could you retype that so I could put the whole thing on the screen together and, without the type? I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. Go ahead. That's
I avoid Clark's lice as well.
That he mistyped Clark's voice has me tearing up. You know that. Come on. Clark's lice. Somebody this year during a YMCA day camp for the oldest one, for Hazel, there was like lice in the building a couple of times. No one in her class or anything. But that was our first fuck. That's gonna be a bad one, man. If we get that, it's gonna be frustrating. Keep it away. Oh Jesus. Weird. There we go. Oh no, shit. Quit typing, guys. Hang on. There we go. Thank you, Elijah. I can't understand it. The frequency. I don't maybe maybe my ears don't. No, I understood bullshit a little bit, but maybe it's I think it's a. Yeah, Hawker says it hurts. It doesn't hurt me, and maybe it's my listening device or the level of it, but it's more like it might be just out of the range that my ears are capable of understanding words. Like a dog might be able to understand the words here, but it's just a little too high pitched.
Your lights hung up.
What's that? Well, I suppose. Do you want to spend any time discussing our fantasy football weeks? Oh wait, hang on. I want to answer this question from Guava earlier. Asked this question. You as a longtime podcaster, Al, I feel like I'd like your opinion on this from Lick the Palm for Guava over on Twitch. Should I do a podcast where my drunk neighbor and I live stream the Bears games and just yell a lot just to put it on Patreon?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
Yep. Go for it. Yeah. Why not? I mean, if it's not going to be too much work, if it's not going to be, I don't know.
I'd be all in.
Yep.
I would listen. Lou would listen. We got this guy Lou. We'll make sure he listens, and then
well, Lou will only find you if you go on to Blog Talk Radio, though. So
yeah, you got to throw it on the.
You don't want Lou. He's heard. He's heard Lou. Absolutely heard Lou. There's no doubt about it. Oh my goodness. Wow. Hey. We do the podcast. We now are doing 2 podcasts a week. Is this true?
I guess. I mean, if you want to get up at 5 a.m, basically me getting up for this show is like you getting up at 5 a.m.
Right.
I had to drag my ass out of bed to do this tonight.
Right now, you're having coffee. I'm having a couple beers.
I am having coffee.
A little bit of the pen here. And if you tune in Friday, it's the opposite. Like, finally, like the roles are reversed, and I get to see like what it's like for you. You get to see a little bit of what it's like for me at that point.
Now, after the program, I thought you alluded to the fact that maybe I talk too much.
It's hard to get any word in with this clown.
Oh, not at all. What I alluded to the fact was I didn't think I was prepared enough to help you, to help elevate you, which you do a fine job of yourself. I just think my job here is to also help steer that into direction. I don't know. Not that you need it. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying every quarterback needs a coach there near him, needs a producer, a guy who's running the show. So I feel like the sports show or the fantasy show, I do want it to be more of I'm producing it than I am running it. I want you to have all of that. I just like to help steer it into certain directions. I want to know where you're going a little bit more than I do on this show here, if that makes sense. So I can be prepared. What are you typing to me? What I should do? Or
no. I was talking about the subscriptions you subscribe, because I've done it with I've gotten some of them porn sites on the what do you call it, like my fans only. My fans only.
Oh, fans only. That's not what Patreon is.
Well, they sucker you in with like for $9.99 you can watch these exclusive porn videos. Yeah. But here's the scam with this My Only thing, because I did it. There were like two porn things I looked into, and I subscribe, but then on the subscription they show you the porn movies they're selling. So like you pay money to get a preview of what you could buy. Yeah, OnlyFans, that's what it is. So that whole thing is a scam. So I'm thinking about starting my own OnlyFans deal, and just sell trailers. Just put trailers.
I thought it was called Fans Only too. I'm going to be honest. I absolutely thought it was called Fans Only. 100%. Wow. That's
yeah, Hawker. I mean, like back in the day, I used to go to Family Video, as a kid, and you get 2 movies for $1. all the old movies, 2 movies for $1. We would, and I'm not talking porn, I'm talking about regular movies. We would spend, like 2 to 3 hours trying to pick out those 2 movies we would rent for the Friday night sleepover at the friend's house. We'd pick the game out in like a second, because back then you'd rent your video games. But then we'd spend
he said OnlyFans.
Now, like, that is the porn history. You spend 2 hours just trying to find the right video, and I don't know what I'm saying, but
we don't need to be putting sites out there now. Soon we're going to get the porn bots coming in with all their spamming of this now, and then it's going to be. We don't need the porn bots here. YouTube, they get it all the time. We don't need them. Come on, get that link out of there. Zap that thing away. That's
no. I got to bookmark it first.
No, well, bookmark it. Send. Oh, you guys are friends on Facebook. DM it. Fucking DM it. Get out of here. Oh, we're screwed. I can't get rid of it. Here we go.
Nice. All right. Well, I got something to look at tonight. There we
well,
go.
At least maybe it's somebody else watching the video, and then there's one more person, and then the algorithm picks up. Is that yours, by the way? The algorithm?
Yeah, I put the Allen algorithm. Absolutely. Everyone knows this.
I don't know.
Clark,
what are your thoughts on the fantasy part? This is where
as the king of fantasy, Clark, acknowledge me.
Acknowledge me.
By the way, Sami Zayn and the Bloodline on Friday Night SmackDown, absolutely crushing it. Sami Zayn is on fire right now. Yeah, I know. We saw your little. Do you want me to pull up my my ROI information? 700% plus.
No, I don't. But can we run over before we go to
where's the
Roman Reigns and whatnot? Can I ask you what were your thoughts on the fantasy show in that morning?
I thought it was good.
Having a later night show for you than ever.
Yeah, I like the time.
You were staying up too late.
I had most of my information done. I still miss some things. Some things did change over the course.
Right.
I did run a lot with the stack I recommended. It did turn out to be a pretty decent stack. The Cincinnati stack. We'll review that on the show on Friday. But I thought, if I remember right, it was a pretty okay play, but it wasn't a great play. It wasn't the winner on the week. But yeah, as far as fantasy overall, I talk up the big weeks. I talk up the wins. There's a hashtag in the fantasy community, take no L's. And that's the guys who, they just talk about their wins and they never kind of mention their losses. I will say I had a complete and utter failure this week in fantasy. I lost most of my home leagues. I dropped for the first time in the Scott Fish Bowl from 60th in the world. I was the 60th best fantasy football player in the world. I've dropped now down to like 295. I did win both of my high stake leagues. One of them I'm in a partnership with you, the Larcher and Lawrence Collective. Yeah. We snuck a win out. Both games I snuck a win out. Overall in the tournament, I think our team is like 2,000 something. I think we're like 294 overall out of 10,000 participants. Yeah. My team, my solo team, I'm ranked 360th overall. So I'm having a little bit better success with my team. Although I kind of like the Larcher and Lawrence Collective team better. I think I'm doing much better in the other game, but I feel like long term it might be better. I think we have a serious opportunity to win this league and take home the $1,500 and then get into the playoffs. I think we're in the playoffs for certain, unless there's an NFL coming.
In that FFPC, we are 3,747, and I don't know a total. What was that total? What did you think the total was around?
I think there's about 10,000 people in the tournament.
We're still in the top half. I mean, our numbers have told us that we don't have the greatest team, but our only loss came in a week where we're the second best scoring team in the league, let alone in the whole thing.
And those projections, Clark, they're designed for like year-long fantasy. This is a tournament, and the tournament teams are going to be different at the end of the day than the fantasy team. So because we're playing against 10,000 people, not 12. You know, we have to get through the 12-man league to begin with, but my team is you just said 3,747. I'm at 618. I'm ranked 618th out of 10,000 with my other team. My total on that team is 478 points. The Larcher Collective is at 428. So we're not that far off. We're about a 50-point difference between, being in the top 1,000 versus being in the 3,000 range. So
would you agree with this from Twitch at Lick the Palm for Guava? The fantasy community has been more wrong this year than ever on just about everything.
I think my that established the run have been pretty sharp. That's the crew I run with. I'm an establish the run guy, and I feel like from best ball through long, they were pretty sharp. But overall, yeah, man, there were a lot of mistakes. Saquon Barkley being a prime example, guy who was underdrafted. The community wasn't as sharp on as it should have been. Established the run. We kept bumping him up the rankings, but we still too light on St. Brown. Was a guy that didn't get steamed up as much as he should have, even though it was pretty clear. I mean, his last 5-6 games last year showed that this guy was a quality wide receiver. He was drafted as like the 24th, 25th best wide receiver, when in reality he's probably 10th or 12th. And then guys like Eckler, has been an utter disaster. Travis Etienne is a guy that was drafted way too soon, and we should have seen the signs. People thought, James Robinson wasn't going to play much this year, that his injury was going to hold him off for 2-3 weeks, and Travis Etienne was gonna go ahead and really command that backfield. That hasn't happened. The community was pretty spot on with Buffalo. I mean, I think we knew Buffalo was going to be good. Jonathan Taylor hasn't been as productive as fantasy players as wanted. Christian McCaffrey, who I touted as the number 1 overall pick, has not been there. It's been pretty bad for him. He's still getting that opportunity, but that team is so bad as a whole, it's hurting his fantasy production because they're not getting touchdowns. And he needs that touchdown equity to happen. But, you look at his production, the dude is still getting the targets. He's still getting the opportunity. 25 touches last week and only 4 targets in the passing game. But he's been averaging at least 4 targets a game. And he's been touching the ball, 25 touches last week, which is promising. Only 15 and 10 the first 2 weeks. So the first 2 weeks he had 25 touches. And then last week alone, he just had 25 touches. So 50 touches on the year. But yeah, I mean, there was a lot wrong, a lot right though too. Again, the Philadelphia stack has been pretty true. Jalen Hurts is as advertised. I was more on, and it turns out Fields wasn't as good. People overdrafted Trey, like that was a big one. Everyone talked up Trey Lance as the value steal of the draft, and I didn't see it. I was taking Fields over Lance.
We can talk about Pitts.
This was a rough stuff. I mean, that was a guy who was getting drafted at the 2-3 turn. Your second and the third round. And
what about Connor?
Man, well, let's stick with Pitts for a second. Pitts has been playing in the pits. The opportunity is there. It's always been there. He got 8 targets last week, 3 targets week 2, 7 targets week 1. So he's averaging about 6 targets a game, which is incredible for a tight end. But the best he's done is 87 yards, 0 touchdowns on the year. The guy was way overdrafted. And the opportunity, everyone drafted him because of the opportunity. And it turns out, Drake London was the steal on the Falcons. There was a guy who was going in the, the 7th, 8th round, clearly a number 1, a bad team. And he's getting the work done. Drake London, fantastic. And yeah. Oh yeah, Allen Robinson was way overdrafted. I wasn't on him. He was
well, I mean, after what we've seen, why would we be on him? Like,
I mean, going into the season, I wasn't drafting him like in best ball or anything. James Conner was, he was a good value, and questionable right now. By the way, pick up Eno Benjamin is a good guy to maybe stash on your bench. Although I think it becomes a split if Connor goes down with Darrell Williams.
We drop St. Brown for him. Do we drop St. Brown for him?
No, I wouldn't go that far. I think we're actually okay. I think we're okay at running back. I think we need to get better at wide receiver.
You're right. And let me tell you what you did in that. All these guys were just mentioning Herbert. Were they talking about Justin? Because the Larcher and Lawrenson collective has both players. Because you were smart enough to bring it up to me that when we were talking about when Brian Robinson, one of our great late drafts, when he got shot in that robbery, it was a robbery attempt.
I believe
he got shot in robbery, awful. But when he got hurt, we were still drafting when that happened. It was a long form draft.
Yeah.
So then you're like, all right, we can grab Herbert here. That's going to make up for it. Well, this last week, and maybe whatever the future holds for Herbert, sure, it's going to be at least a share, and he might get the Lions share, of it from here on out. At the very least, I think Herbert might be the guy.
Well, my thought in drafting him was, it was true. It proved true. He has what you look for in fantasy is you look for guys with standalone value. Tony Pollard of the Dallas Cowboys, he has standalone value. The Naheem Hines of the Indianapolis Colts has standalone value because these guys are going to get work in the passing game, regardless if the starter plays or not. But if the starter goes down, these guys become exceptional values. And Herbert checked all those boxes. He was going to be involved in the passing game. We knew that going into the season, that they wanted to do more of a running back by committee going in, and they weren't going to just feed Montgomery every play, that Herbert was going to mix in. And we knew that if Montgomery goes down, whoa, mama, hello, crank the cash register, because Herbert is going to get all that work. And that's what we saw this week. And I'm hoping we get a couple weeks of Herbert, maybe without Montgomery. But even if Montgomery plays, Herbert still has value. So excited about that.
Yeah, me as well. That's great. Yeah, our team's doing well. The collective, I think, outshining where we are.
Yeah, I gotta feel you gotta feel pretty confident about this team. You feel pretty good about it. I don't know if it's a $500,000 winner, but I think we get to the playoffs. I think we're gonna have an opportunity for $500,000.
Yeah. So that's it, y'all. With fantasy, like I've enjoyed, because on this show today we've been able to talk, and it's kind of nice to have the other one as well. On this one, we've been able to talk about year-long fantasy, and over in Twitch chat, both like Lick the Palm for Guava and Hawker there, MX Hawker, they are both discussing a lot of year-long fantasy right now, and I do appreciate that. If you want to know where your daily fantasy lineup should be going and what kind of teams to build in stacks, and Al, you can help me out here with this, but what exactly, what are we doing on that show on Friday morning?
Well, the approach I took last week, and we'll see if maybe we'll do that again this, I took the games with the highest over and under on the main slate. And basically, we have an hour to run through as many games as possible, but we start with the highest over and unders because, in theory, those games are going to have the most action. And then if there's a game I really like that's kind of lower on the over-under list, I'm going to make sure we get it in. 12 games on the slate this week. Look at over and unders currently. The games we're definitely going to get to and talk about, unless there's a massive drop in over under. Let's see, what's my Vegas predictions? Market share, Vegas. All right. The top game is going to be Buffalo and Baltimore. My guess is that's going to be a very expensive game to stack. It's going to be hard to do. That's the problem with these games with the higher over unders is, there's a lot of fantasy equity there, but how much are you paying for that ceiling that destroys your overall ceiling opportunity? You got to see if it's playable, if it's worth doing, if there's value. Just looking, Jamal Williams of the Detroit Lions, if Swift isn't going, and I don't think he is, he's 6,100. That's going to be a value play. It's going to be steamed up. There's going to be a lot of ownership attached to it because I think a lot of people are going to be smart enough to get there. But that's going to be something to look at. Delvin Singletary, everybody's going to be on the passing game of Buffalo. They're going to spend all that money on Delvin Cooks. They're going to spend all that money on Diggs, Stephon Diggs, and Justin Allen. They're probably not going to spend a lot of money on Delvin Singletary because it's hard to commit to the running game of the Buffalo Bills because Singletary had 8 attempts, 6 attempts, 9 attempts. But he also seeing he had 11 targets in the passing game last week. 11 targets for Singletary. He caught 9 of them. So, that's Christian McCaffrey-like numbers. So Delvin Singletary might be a steal that no one's going to touch at 5,900. It might be a good pivot off of what everyone else is doing. That's how you be contrarian, and that's how you win money. So game, you might want to take some equity out of it with Delvin Singletary and go against the field there. Just looking at other games with the high over-unders, we're probably going to be talking Seattle-Detroit. Detroit's been putting up numbers. If St. Brown is playing, and I believe he will, man, going up against the Seattle Seahawks. There's some money there. And if Seattle could push back, if Geno Smith could get an offense going, if that dusty coach of theirs can make something happen, that might be a game worth checking out. I don't know. I haven't gotten to the research yet. That could be very ugly, but it does have the second highest over/under on the week, as does another ugly game. A lot of ugly games this week. The Atlanta Falcons and the Cleveland Browns. That game has a 50-point over and under right now. Those are 2 ugly teams. But, man, I bet you the pricing on those players, if that becomes a shootout, and as Vegas is projecting right now, you have very obvious target trees, and that's what you look for in fantasy football. Where's the ball going? Do you know? Well, sure. If you're Cleveland Browns, if you're playing Jacoby Brissett, which I wouldn't do, I'd probably maybe even go with a naked back with a high upside, like a Jalen Hurts. I put and not play the Baltimore stack, but instead you get the equity of the Buffalo Baltimore game by playing Jackson as your quarterback naked, but yet playing the stack of Cleveland, Atlanta as your wide receivers, because you're going to get a lot of value there. Right now, the highest receiver in that game is a Marber at 6,300. 6,300. That's the highest priced receiver. Drake London. Where's the ball going for Marcus Mariota and the Falcons? It's either going to be Pitts or it's going to be Mariota. Guys like Zacharias, Omariah Zacharias, probably not going to see a lot. Kadaro Hodge, I don't know what he's going to get. He's 3,300. He might be a nice piece of that game stack that's cheesy, but you get so much value in that game stack, man. Sky's the limit. Whoa, mama. Whoa, baby. You could be cool teams. So that's going to be a game that's going to be really worth breaking down and discussing. We'll definitely that game. And then, a couple others, hopefully we'll have time for, Green Bay, New England, Jacksonville, Philly. A lot of ugly games this week. This slate is hideous. This is one of the most disgusting slates I've seen in a long time. There's not a good game on here. The Raiders, Denver, maybe in the late game, but New England, Green Bay, woof. The Cardinals versus Carolina, woof. The Bills, Baltimore, that's probably going to be the game everyone's going to watch. The Titans versus the Colts, ugly. The Redskins versus the Cowboys, rivalry game. But you got shitty quarterbacks and shitty teams playing. Man, it's an ugly field. This is where I make money. Is in chaos and just absolute hideous game slates. When there's a lot of good games, I tend to fail because I'm not I like playing contrarian. I like playing the bad players. But when all the players are bad players, boom, I have a little bit advantage. You know, your top wide receivers going into this week are going to be these are the money guys. You have Stephon Diggs is the most expensive at 8,400. You don't have any Cooper Kupp this week. St. Brown is the second highest ceiling.
Diggs being banged up, like, man, I don't know why, but maybe that's the move you make to get the win. Is you do go with it, and then he has a huge week. But with him banged up, you'd think you'd be scared off of him at the high price, right? Hey,
yeah, I mean,
you're gonna hear about all of this daily fantasy stuff, and like, I love the preview here. It's 5 a.m. Fridays. It's live. The Blog Talk live crowd. If you're listening live on Blog Talk, not too many there anymore. The podcast feed continues, so you can grab the podcast of this later and listen to it more. And of course, we're still on live on all of the video streams as well. Al, 5 a.m. Like, this is when we're gonna really get into all of this, and like, man.
Yeah, we'll discuss the good running back plays this week: Jamal Williams, Nick Chubb, Saquon Barkley. And you know, we'll try to figure out what to do with because we're gonna have money to spend because of the cheap stacks, because of the bad games. You know, is this a week where Jonathan Taylor is a guy to play? Does Christian McCaffrey bounce back against the pitiful Arizona Cardinals?
You know,
Derrick Henry, the big dog, started eating this week. Does he continue to feast?
Yeah. You know, I drafted Jonathan Taylor in your league, number 1 overall, right?
Yeah.
It's tough. It's not coming through yet. The last thing before the live show ends here, that you and I are both in the foosball league, Ross's league over there, and I picked up the Cleveland defense, and I played them this week. I would have lost the game without that touchdown at the end.
10 seconds.
To Ross. And I beat Ross in that game. And I don't even think I'm in the top half in this league, right? I don't even think I'm in the top half. However, you and I have the most points scored against in foosball league with Ross, just so you know. They're coming at us. They are firing at us in that league, bud. And we are.
I don't know why I can't win that league. I'm pissed off. There's 2 leagues that are cursed to me: my league and that fucking Ross league, the foosball. I don't even like the name of the league. Everything about it, the scoring system,
Hey, Ross,
the
Ross, he
payouts.
doesn't mean any of it. I know you're listening, and you might not be listening until Thursday or Friday, because sometimes you don't listen till then. But he's going to hear this, and I just want you to know that being a Clark Bar as you are, and we're buddies, we're pals. I apologize for picking up the Browns there. Did you see that? Who was it that dropped the ball on that game Thursday night? Your guy Claypool.
Yeah.
A lot of people lost that DFS that night. A lot of people lost because Claypool ended up losing points on that because he lost 5 yards. So the opponent, you know what I mean? Like in some of the year-long leagues, like it just screwed people over. He lost his points. And then the Browns got him on that last second touchdown. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm 6th out of 10th in that league. I mean, they should just shut that thing down. You're 5th out of 10, you know.
Yeah.
You have 45 points on me.
Yeah, I know. And like, but the scores against us is where it gets us. Hawker just goes, why 10 seconds? Oh, that's just the Blog Talk Live. Blog Talk Live's no longer with us. That's where you can listen to us live. Blog Talk Radio, Larcher and Lawrence. And
see, Hawker doesn't know this. You know, I'm a foos fucking master. I am one of the elite foosball players of my generation.
I have a seldom used foosball table in here. Because why? Because I have a neighbor who's so dominant on it that none of us ever want to play. I have it here. Hawker, come on over. Hawker, Larcher. Boom. Let's do this.
See, you know, when I was a kid, my mother was crazy. And she was checking herself into a mental hospital. And in the process, she checked me into a mental hospital. And because they had nothing to go by but what my mother was saying, they locked me up. And I spent 2 months in a mental institution where all we had was a foosball table and Galactica. And I became a foos fucking master. And I can play without even spinning. Like if you have a rule where you can't spin the stupid players, you have to just use your wrist. Nobody's better than me. One of
Well,
the
I'll
great
tell you what,
goalies of my
we have
generation.
we have your origin story. I can't wait to find out Hawker's origin story when it comes to foosball. Yeah, you are kind of the pinball wizard over there. Oh, do you wait? You spin now?
Yeah, no, so that's what I'm saying. I don't need to spin my wrist. I can
Yeah.
twist my wrist. Look at this. Look at this, Clark. 360
Wait,
degrees.
hang on,
Boom.
hang on. We got to go to this. We got to go to this view. Hang on. Do that again. Hang on. Try that again so we can see it. Oh, pull it back a little. Get in the camera shot. Get
I'm
in the
trying,
shot. God damn it, Stone Cold says you got to know where your cameras are. Know your angles.
Yeah. I am, like I said, a foos fucking master. Nobody's stopped me. Although I did play a dude a couple years ago. He was on home turf. He was at Big Shitty Bar. And I played him in a game, and he clobbered me. So
I imagine the table at Big City has a couple of spots that aren't exactly level. Just a thought.
yeah, it's been years, so I may be a little out of practice. I may not be the player I once was. Is what I'm saying. I might be Tom Brady this season versus
Give us a few months here, Al. I'll get you on a training regimen. Come over once a week. We've got this.
Yeah, man. If you start filming like a Rocky montage of me working out the foosball table, the pushing in and out, the spinning the wrist, I think maybe this could be the comeback story.
So you have done a great job of trying to get me in to the WWE, trying to get me back. I've faded away. I don't watch it. Last night while it was on, and I turned off the night. Last night, no, last night when I was on, watching Monday Night Football, I then flipped over to Quantum Leap, and I watched the second episode for show content, but I didn't take notes because I knew you weren't watching it. And I missed WWE, but last week you sent me a video of a great promo with Sami Zayn there.
Acknowledge me.
I mean, acknowledge him. And everybody says I acknowledge you. Cool. I don't get it. I don't understand what that means. Why do you have to acknowledge the guy?
Because he's a heel, Clark. He's the leader of like a mafia group. He's the leader. He's like Tony Soprano. And remember when Ralph wouldn't shake Tony's hand? Like he wouldn't. He was upset. There was that whole incident. That's what it is, Clark. This is the people have to pay their respects to Roman Reigns. They have to understand that he's the tribal chief, that he runs the family, that even if you work for him, you have to acknowledge that he is the boss, that the fans, when he goes in an arena, that they need to acknowledge him as the greatest. And you have Paul Heyman in the mix as the wise man. You have the new the Uso brother, as the enforcer, the Arn Anderson role. And then you have Sami Zayn as this quirky, he's the white kid trying to hang out with the rappers. He's the kid who just doesn't fit in, but he's trying to. And they did a swerve this week where it looked like they were throwing him out of the gang. And there's these two brothers. There's Jay and Jimmy Uso, the Usos, and Jay hates him, like just absolutely hates him. So Roman Reigns was fucking with Sami Zayn and told him to take off the shirt. And he wouldn't do it. He was like, oh, come on, guys. So Jay went over and ripped it off, and he was so happy because he was finally getting his way and getting rid of Sami Zayn. And then Roman Reigns turns around. He's like, I wanted you to take the shirt off because I got you your own shirt. And boom, tosses him a new shirt. They're plugging merchandise. It's brilliant. Everybody,
There's something about that segment that was so great and so awesome. It
was fun.
There's a bit of an issue that I had in that I didn't know if it made sense. So they did a promo. Paul Heyman talked.
Yeah.
I think they all talked a bit. They were talking about this new enforcer guy who came down from the family, and apparently he came from, the Samoan family. He came down. The elders sent him to take down the tribal chief, or to have a good talk with the tribal chief for them. And the tribal chief says, "No, you answer to me." Is that what happened?
Okay, so it's like this: the elders, the head shrinker, remember the head shrinkers back in the WWE? They're the elders. They they're the elders of the island. Although he's the king,
you can't put him on TV to give him a little bit of a rub.
No, they've put him on TV before, but it's you don't need them in the
little payday,
So you have the old timers, and Roman Reigns was in trouble because the Usos couldn't be at the match, so they sent in the Usos' younger brother as the enforcer. And so now after the match, Roman Reigns kind of grabbed them like, okay, follow me up the aisle. You're part of the family. But this was the first time he went face to face with him. And he basically said, hey, listen, you are a part of the family. They sent you here. I didn't send you here. I didn't ask for you to join the mob. You're Furio coming in from Italy. But as long as you understand that I am the head of the table, you acknowledge me, you're a part of this group. And Solo, that's his name. He's been built up as a guy who's his own man. He's kind of a wild card. So he went ahead and he didn't reluctantly do it. He looked Roman in the eye and he said, my tribal chief, I acknowledge you. And Roman kind of gave him a very dominant alpha hug, like, yeah, okay, I accept you, but no, I am the power player in this family. So you have this dynamic where this guy is kind of a wild card, and he likes Sami Zayn. And Jay and Jimmy, his older brothers, he's not close with the older Usos. So he's more closer with Sami Zayn. And now you have this element of all these guys. Everyone has their own motives within this organization. And somebody is going to end up turning on Roman. And this whole acknowledge me line is brilliant, because one day what's going to happen is The Rock is going to walk down to the ring, and he's going to look Roman in the eye, and one of two things are going to happen. Rock's either going to say, look, you have been bastardizing this family. There's only one head of the table. It's me. If you smell what I'm cooking, you will acknowledge me. Or The Rock is going to come to the ring. He's going to get his Rudy Poo candy ass in the ring. He's going to say how great he is and what a star he is. And Roman Reigns is going to be like, look, you're a Hollywood star. This ring is my island. You acknowledge me. So one of the two are going to ask the other to acknowledge them. And boom, fireworks, WrestleMania, Hollywood. You have a hell of a story going. And Roman Reigns has been, the world champion now for like 2 years. The Usos have been holding those tag titles for over a year now. They're setting records. I mean, this is the best thing going in wrestling. It is compelling. Every element of the story is interesting. There's interweaving parts. Is Sami Zayn going to end up turning on are the bloodline going to end up turning on Sami Zayn, and then maybe Sikoa ends up joining him? Or is his old buddy Kevin Owens going to be the one true friend he has left, and he's going to end up rejoining Sami Zayn, and then those two form a tag team, and they go after the Usos at WrestleMania for the tag team titles? Man, there's a lot of just cool stories of things that could happen. And then you have blood games going on. You have war games going on.
So that segment, though, I think that'll be a fun thing to watch. I will turn on Peacock and I will watch when The Rock goes against Roman Reigns. This is my place. And then he'll beat The Rock, because there's no reason for The Rock to win, because he doesn't need that at WrestleMania. That'll be fun. But in the segment the other night, that was awesome. It was fantastic. I loved the swerve. I didn't understand how they got done with the part with the Solo fella and the Usos. They had all talked. Heyman talked. Everybody talked. Then they played the music and it's done.
Yeah.
It's done. Everybody walks off. Then, so their segment's over. They were finished.
Right.
Then Sammy grabs the mic and asks him to turn off the music and says, everybody stop this. I just need to tell you that I also acknowledge you to him, right? Did the whole thing. Right. Then the shirt comes off. Then he gets another, then he doesn't have a shirt. Then why do they have a shirt on them to give to him, to present to him in front of everybody? if they didn't know the segment was over. It's not like they stopped the music from playing themselves. Sammy stopped it. If he really doesn't know he's getting a shirt, why is he stopping the music? The continuity of that kind of crossed me a little bit. I didn't understand.
What
that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense why you would.
Yeah,
why
but
did
that's
they
the
have
stupid
shirt?
stuff.
What were they going to
Like,
give it to him when they got back to the ramp? When they got in the backstage?
possible.
Like they had
It's
to start
possible.
in their pocket on them, but they're like, oh, well, we're gonna. Did they forget that they were gonna give him the shirt? And they
No,
just
it's
played
possible that
music?
later. Well, you can stop talking. I can maybe explain.
Okay.
But it's possible that later they were planning to do that later in the show, and he had it on him. And Sami Zayn interrupts him
No.
and goes on this thing, and he says, "You know what? I'm going to take this opportunity to do it now in front of the crowd," and that's how
Well,
he does it.
We
But
brought
it's
it
one
out
of those
here with us just in case Sammy stops the music and says, "I'm going to talk then."
No, he had the shirt on him to give him later in the show.
Oh, he's carrying
He
it
had
around
the
the whole night when they come out.
Well, yeah, he had the shirt made. He was obviously going to present it to Sammy at some point.
I'm being very
So why
fucking
not there?
nitpicky here. I'm
I
sorry.
know you are.
I know I am.
It's frustrating because it's stupid stuff.
But it
you
makes
know.
sense. The continuity's wrong. I mean,
It's
you
not
know.
wrong though.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
wrong.
there's a perfectly good explanation.
That's bullshit. You don't bring it to the ring if you're not going to.
Why not? You have this shirt made because you want to present it to Sammy at some point in the night.
A quick, simple, and everything worked fine. The crowd loves it. Everybody's excited. It's fine. But a quick, simple, like, hey, Jimmy, did you bring that? You know, just a simple, like, hey.
But the Usos didn't know.
Or a quick, simple, like, hang on. We're going to do this
The
later.
Usos weren't in on it.
Or if Roman, yeah, they had him take it off. Or if Roman all of a sudden goes, no, hang on, guess what? I was going to give this to you later, but here it is now. That's all he had to do. That's all he had to do. He didn't say
Clark, the Usos weren't in on the bit. They didn't know it was coming.
Well, Roman could have just gone, sorry, Sammy. I was going to do this later, but here it is. Here's the shirt. Like,
well, that wouldn't have been, but they like fucking with him, Clark.
Why do you have the whole speech plan to give him about it? Why did he have a rehearsed speech ready?
It wasn't rehearsed. Sammy interrupted him.
Okay.
And then he saw the opportunity to fuck with him.
I've seen Roman give a lot of promos.
And people aren't sure if Roman actually likes Sammy or he just likes fucking with Sammy.
Okay.
And he's using him. Jay obviously hates Sammy. And then the question is, does Jay hate Sammy because he actually is a good guy at heart and just he knows Sammy's going to get, eaten by this gang. He's the dude fucking with a gang that doesn't belong. He's the white kid, in prison, hanging out with the gang of a different race.
Sammy's
and they accept him because they like him, but at the end of the day, he's not one of them. He's not a Samoan. He's not in the dynasty. So they could easily turn on him at any point. It's just a great relationship.
I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I mean, it's no Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus.
Not quite. Like, it's not quite that, but it's all right. It's not Orange Cassidy to me, but it's close.
Yeah, no, it's not. I mean, I know you think Roman Reigns and Orange Cassidy are the same thing.
I mean, it's all pretty
But
close.
I have a feeling like this is fake Clark and just a bit, like you with the Bears.
What do you mean?
Like your whole thing about the Bears, I can't accept the Bears going to Arlington Heights. This is the worst idea ever. Like, I feel like it's just that. Like, you're just, you're just trolling is what it is.
That's a little of it. I mean, yeah, but
Yeah,
I mean, but I honestly don't watch it. Like, I wish I did. It'd be fun. Like, if I could just
I'm glad you don't watch it because I'm glad you missed good things.
Only watch the Bloodlines. I don't have the time for all of that fucking wrestling. That was my hope. I was excited that there was a new product.
Everything is on YouTube.
There was a new product that was going to be. There was a new product that was going to be worth a shit, and I would watch it, and it doesn't appear to be worth a shit. And now I'm pissed. Like, AEW is it's not working. It's horrible. It's in a bad place. I should stop watching that product. Yeah. I really should stop watching that product. But I don't have 17 hours to watch a week. WWE, you're not.
That's a false argument.
I don't care. Like, I'm not going to watch.
You could easily pay attention to what's happening in the bloodline just by following it on Reddit and watching maybe 15 minutes of clips a week.
I'm not going to do that with Quantum Leap. I didn't do that with Better Call Saul. I didn't do it with The Walking Dead. I watched the shows.
They're
I
not,
didn't just go
they're
to
not
Reddit
segments within the show.
Yeah, but I like, you know that. I want to watch the whole presentation. I'm not just watching.
See, you're making excuses. You're making excuses to be a dick, is what you're doing. Like, you just make excuses to be a dick instead of accepting the reality of the situation. I need to watch the whole show. No, you don't.
If you tell me that it's good wrestling, I obviously believe you. I'm not intrigued. I don't care that much about this. I don't understand the tribal chief thing. And I think
you pretend not to understand it. I think
a lot
it's pretty
of it
simple to understand.
From me being like a child and seeing the head shrinkers out there, and I just thought they were. I don't understand it. I don't get the.
So you're racist? It's got to be white, baby-faced, blue-eyed Hulk Hogan to understand?
No, not at all. I just don't understand what the bloodline is. Like, is that real? Is that a thing? Like,
yeah, you could Google this and find all this out within 5 minutes.
Or is it all just bullshit? And like, is he playing it up a lot more than anybody does? Are there really tribal chiefs like that going around the world right now?
You're asking this of professional wrestling.
What I want to know
is you're trying to qualify whether it's real or not within professional wrestling. When you watch Better Call Saul,
are there elders really saying, acknowledge me to people? Is there an elder out there somewhere that is telling people that they have to acknowledge them as their chief? Like, is that a real thing, or is that just like a WWE thing with Roman Reigns? Is he just like, you have to acknowledge me now? Like, I don't understand it. Like, can I
Did you know The Sopranos was all fake? They were actors.
What's that?
Did you know the Sopranos was all fake? It was all fiction, and they were actors.
Absolutely.
And it was all created. And that Italian Americans generally aren't in the mafia, and that the families aren't actually like that.
So then, what are you saying?
Do you know when you watch Breaking Bad, those zombies aren't real?
Hang on. Why are there zombies in Breaking Bad?
I'm sorry, and you're Walking Dead.
I understand what TV shows are. Obviously,
Do you understand wrestling as a TV show? Do you understand the show is scripted? Do you understand it's written out?
I don't think you quite understand where I'm coming from on this.
I do. You're being ridiculous just to be ridiculous. That's what you're
not at all. Like, I don't get it. Like, so what you're telling me is that it is all just like made up. Like, it's just it's just a thing. Like, they don't really have.
They are intertwining.
Are there real tribal chiefs? Are there real? Like, I want to know, what is that? Are there really places still today in 2022 where there are tribal chiefs for these folks, for them, for this culture? Is that a real thing, or is that just like a wrestling thing right now? And I don't care. I want to know. I'm trying to learn.
I don't understand what relevance it has to the story.
Maybe
you know what, there are Hawaiians, and there are tribes in Hawaii. There are there's Samoa. I mean, there are families that probably consider an elder a tribal chief. Yeah, I would think that's probably a fairly real thing. It's obviously being played up as a character in a wrestling show.
And what do those of the community think of this?
I don't know, Clark. I've never asked them, nor do I care to ask them.
That's what I need to find out. If I can find out that it's backed by the families involved, then I'm all in. And I'm sure it is. I just want to make sure.
They've been on television, the families involved, Clark.
Huh?
The elders have been involved, yes.
Yeah. Okay, cool. That's great. Awesome. Then yeah, I mean, I'll watch. I'm all for it. I will watch on Reddit, Al. Is that good?
All right, so we got Friday, we got the fantasy show, and go do some grocery shopping.
Sure. That works for me. Thanks for the show tonight.
All right, sounds good.
Yep. We'll be back with this one next Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. And as Al just said, Friday morning, 5 a.m., grab us on the podcast shortly thereafter. Either take us to work with you on that commute or head on home with us. And we'll tell you everything you need for daily fantasy. Al's the fantasy.
I wish I knew what time it was, but because I don't have a clock in front of me, I don't know.
It's 8:52 p.m.
Oh, beautiful.
I gotta get in my pickup truck, drink some Steve Weisers, listen to some Backstreet Boys.
And good night, y'all. Thank you so much.
Hey, I'll tell you something right now. A man in my position cannot afford to look ridiculous at any time. When that comes from me, that's